In this supersized episode of the Swearwolves, David and I discuss our trip to Steel City Con in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. I then discuss about my trip to Monster Mania Con in New Jersey, and we both discuss and review Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
We'll begin with a reign of terror. A few murders here and there.
Welcome back to the Swearwolves. I'm Bret.
I'm David.
David.
Hey.
How are you, my friend?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm one with the
I am
world.
one.
We are all one. We're one of one, David.
Yeah.
You are one of one. I'm one of
Very
one.
zen.
We're very zen.
I'm harnessing my chi.
We got back. We went to Steel City Con last week, I guess. And the turnaround time between when we would have recorded stuff from Steel City and when our episode got released, it was just too short of a window to have you add that to our audio. So
Yeah, I would have had mere hours. And that's if there was no delay in my flight.
yeah. So we're gonna throw in our recap of Steel City Con in this episode, if that's okay with you.
I'll allow it.
Hopefully we had a lot of fun.
I hope so. Hopefully
We haven't gone yet.
Yeah,
in
and
this-
hopefully
in
John
this
Carpenter
reality.
was very nice.
I'm sure he wasn't. I'm sure he was just like, okay, I'll
Like
sign this shit and
An old
move on.
curmudgeon.
But
Well, he's gonna
I'm
sign
sure-
a lot of shit, so he's gonna have to listen to me talk at least for a little bit. Like, I got like 8 things for you, pal.
Yeah, so we have gone in your guys' reality. We've gone, but in our reality, we haven't. My wife was asking me the other day. She goes, "What are you going to say to John Carpenter?" And I said, "I have no fucking clue." I said, "But I got about 3 hours car ride with David
think
to
about it.
figure it out."
I was thinking about it last night when I went to bed, and I just laid there like this, just staring. I was like, I can't think of anything.
No.
Yeah, so we'll have to put our heads together.
Yeah,
I've got one. Actually, I do have one idea of one thing I can talk to him about.
Oh yeah,
I ain't gonna tell you.
don't tell me because
you
if
in
I
the
go
car.
first, I'll steal it.
Yeah, exactly. You'll go first, and you'll do the whole conversation. And I'll just be like,
Yep.
And then I'll just get up there, and I'll be like,
That's what I was gonna say.
I like The Thing. It's my favorite horror movie.
I like your thing.
I mean, oh, Mr. Carpenter.
So, well, without further ado, why don't we just get into that? Why don't we
Sure.
just
Do
play
it now?
that update right now? All right, thank you, past Bret and David. This is current Bret and David, who just got back from Steel City Con and Monster Mania.
Yes, we did. That was a lot of fun.
So we want to give a little bit of an update. Now, we're doing this a little bit different than we normally have done because David and I were going to record after we got back from Steel City Con, but I only had one microphone. David didn't bring his microphone. Not any fault of his, but and then it just wasn't going to work sharing a microphone. It was going to be like, what did you say? We were going to look like
It's
Mick
gonna look
Jagger
like
and David Bowie.
and Mick Jagger in the Dancing in the Streets video there. Like
Yeah,
face to face.
exactly.
Because these microphones also, like this style, isn't really made for that. Like you got to talk directly into it.
Yeah, you got to talk.
So we'd have been
right
all
into
up
the
in each
top
other's
of it.
business, smelling each other's breath. I could
So-
think of worse ways to spend an evening now.
That's true. That's true. But we decided, I was like, well, what's the big deal? I mean, you go home on Monday or you go home on Sunday. We'll just record on Monday and we'll just talk about our weekend.
And I just tried really hard to remember everything.
Everything. It was kind of hard to do sometimes
a
because it
blur.
all happens like in a,
Yeah.
it's just a flurry of stuff. So David came in on Thursday, landed in Philadelphia, got an earlier flight. So you
That was
landed
nice.
earlier.
Yeah, I was supposed to have a flight with a stop in Las Vegas and then a 2.5 hour layover and then fly in. And then day before, I got an email from American Airlines like, hey, you want to switch to this direct flight? Yes. So yeah, got in earlier, got in faster. It was nice.
Yeah, my son and I drove down there to pick him up, and then we took him to go get a cheesesteak.
Delicious. I never had it with
And
the
it was-
cheese whiz on it. That really makes a difference. It was good.
It's the only way to have it. It's the only way to have it.
Yeah, it was
Anybody
awesome.
else who says any different is an asshole.
That's true. I can say that now.
Got back to my place, kind of hung out for a little bit, gave you the 50-cent tour around the new house.
It's very nice. Nice home you got there.
Thanks, David. And then we went to bed because the next morning, Friday morning, we got up about 5:30.
Yeah.
Hopped in the car. Well, we didn't leave until after 6:30, but that's a whole nother issue.
That's another story. And drove out to Monroeville, basically Pittsburgh.
Took us about 3 hours.
Yeah, it
with
wasn't too bad. We
stops
stopped
and
a couple
everything.
times.
Maybe. Yeah.
Had to go make our peepees a few times.
Drove out to Monroeville to Steel City Con. Got right there, and there was a lot of people there. Parking was a premium.
That lot wasn't very big.
It wasn't. But
we didn't have to walk that much. Well, we didn't have to walk at all because your wife dropped us off. Like a couple
I
of
know,
bastards
she's like, here,
that we
you
are.
guys get out. Go do your thing.
Yeah, I'll find a spot. That was nice of her.
It was. So we got our shit. We had, David had all of his posters, his million posters he can tell you about here in a second. But we got our passes.
And we had upgraded one of our photo ops because one thing that was kind of nice was John Carpenter was doing 2 different photo ops. So we had like a regular one, like a typical, kind of studio photo. And then he was going to do another one with the original car from Halloween, the station wagon that Michael Myers steals. So that one cost a little bit extra. So we had to upgrade. So when we upgraded, we had to give them, like on our lanyard that they give you, the VIP lanyard, you've got 2 like tabs on it. Like one was for the photo op and one's for one free autograph. But they're like on top of each other. So you had to tear them both off. So I gave the person my photo op ticket, and she's like, all right, now make sure, hold on to that autograph ticket. You don't want to lose that one. And I was like, oh, no, ma'am, I won't. It's going right in my pocket. And then she gave us a paper ticket for the upgraded photo op, and I put that in my pocket. And then as we're walking towards where we needed to go, because Carpenter was actually in the building like adjacent to the convention hall. He's like at a hotel. I think you were like, hey, what time's the photo op? And I was like, oh, let me check the ticket. I'll look at it. And I looked and I was like, oh, it doesn't say or whatever. And I put it back in my pocket. Mm-hmm. And then we get over.
So we get to John Carpenter.
Yeah.
We get to John Carpenter and David's like, hey, you only have one thing. You go first.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah. And then I was like, as I'm getting my shit signed, you can just hang out and we can all be besties.
Yeah. And me and John Carpenter and David can all like start our own podcast together.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway. So I'm like, oh, yeah, here's my thing. And I tear off my little thing and give it to the guy. And he's like, okay, you're just doing the one. And I was like, yeah. He's like, you're ready to go. You'll be next. And then David's like, okay. And then he's like, and then you'll be after him. David's like, all right, here's my, oh, wait, hold on. Let me give you my ticket.
It's in my pocket.
It was not in David's pocket.
No, when I took that paper ticket out to look at the time, I must have accidentally also pulled out my tab for the free autograph, and it also gives you like front of line privileges. One time was gone.
Yep.
So I had that in my possession for probably all of 2 minutes and managed to lose it immediately. So I was like, "Is there anything you can do?" And like, I think they could see the panic in my eyes because I was freaking out. I was like, "No."
Well, plus I want to mention that you had the one. I don't want to say free because we paid for it. We prepaid for this autograph, right?
Right.
But it was included in our VIP package. So he had the one autograph that he paid for already, and then he had,
I think 6 more.
5?
6, I think. I think I had a total
6
of 7.
more. So total of 7 things to get signed, and he was paying for the other 6.
Yeah.
So he was like, I have 6 things. Here's my money for 6 things. Like, why would I?
Well, and I think it also helped that it was the first day of the convention, and it had only been open for like an hour at that point. So it's like, you haven't seen this face before, have you? Like,
yeah.
And I'm going to give you money. Yeah, but I was freaking out because, we should also mention John Carpenter's line was
fucking long.
Like out the door of the room that they had him in, into the hallway, out of the hallway, down the stairs. Like it was out of the building. So that line had to have taken hours to get through. So I was just like, oh my God. And at that point, I was
I will say this, he was pretty quick.
Yeah, it was quick. But I was at that point, I was like, I don't want to wait in that line. So I don't think I even told you this, but if they were going to tell me no, I was just going to give you my stuff. And I'd just be like, I'll meet him at the photo op. You get my shit signed. Here's my money. But luckily, they were really nice about it. And they're like, you're fine. Just go ahead.
Yeah, they were cool about it. So we go up there, and I was first, like I'd said. And I was like, Mr. Carpenter, it's a pleasure meeting you. And he's like, hey, how's it going? I was like, I'm just really nervous. And like David and David will share his story too, but we were both kind of shaky. And we meet a lot of these celebrities.
We've met a lot of people. I am rarely, if ever, starstruck. And this was one of the times where like I felt nervous. Like my hand was like shaking.
Yeah,
it was weird for me. I'm not used to that.
But anyway, so he's like, oh, don't be nervous. And I pulled out, I had the thing, one sheet that Keith David had already signed. And fortunately on mine, Keith David, he did sign it kind of weird. He signed it on the left leg, and it's kind of sideways. It looks all right. But fortunately, like the torso where I wanted John Carpenter to sign wasn't filled up. And so I asked him to sign there. And he was going there anyway. Like he had the marker and he was already like drawn right to that spot. And that's where he was going to sign. So that was cool. So he signed that. And I said, thank you very much. And I moved to the side. And then David comes with his 7 things.
Yes, then I come up and kind of the same deal. Like I was a little bit shaky and I was like, oh, you're my favorite director. I got a lot of stuff for you. I'm sorry. And he's like, oh, no, it's cool, man. Don't worry about it. And then when I got to the thing one sheet also, the same one that you have, Keith David signed even weirder on mine. He signed like all the way up the pant leg and sideways. So the spot that I would have wanted Carpenter to sign dead center, like Keith David kind of ruined it. Not ruined, but like he took that spot. I even said, I was like, this is where I wanted you to sign. But as you can see, Keith took up all the good real estate. And he was like, yeah, he did. And I was like, can you sign like maybe on the posters, the guy's got his hands out. It's like maybe like right underneath the hand. And he's like, yeah, that's a good spot. So we signed there. And then I also had him sign, let's see, a 2018 Halloween one sheet that I've already got signed by Nick Castle, an Escape from New York one sheet, a Halloween 2 one sheet. What else? A Thing art print.
The Thing art print, and then the crappy like knockoff thing.
Yeah, then the knockoff one that I've had a bunch of people signing, including Wilford Brimley. And they sign that.
That's the only reason why you continue to get that signed.
Exactly. It actually looks really good. I know it's not in the shop. It's like right above my head. But
framed it does, yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. And he signed it like dead center in silver. It looks really cool. And then after he signed all the posters, I was like, oh, Mr. Carpenter, I got one more thing for you.
And I got one more thing. Do you remember in your movie when they did the blood test?
Oh, I'm so scared. Oh, it was Palmer.
Who would have thought?
Oh, I didn't. I jumped out of my seat. It still gets me every time.
No, I didn't say any of that. I was just like, hey, I got one more thing for you. It's like, I've been going to a lot of shows over the years, and one thing I've been doing with the Thing cast members is I have them sign a Petri dish. So I pulled it out, and it was kind of cool. He didn't really say anything, but when I showed it to him, he went, ha! So I think he got kind of a kick out of that. And so he signed the lid of the Petri dish. So I've got that sitting on the shelf right above me.
Nice.
I managed to get it home without breaking it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then after that, that was pretty much it for the autograph. And then we're like,
yeah,
okay,
so
well, we got a couple photo ops. Yeah, we just walk around a little bit.
We put everything into the car then, because it's like, who wants to walk around with that shit for the rest of the day?
Yeah, not this guy.
Not this guy. We've done that before. That's when you hit Linda Blair with poster tubes.
Whack her with the poster tube, and she fucking hates me forever now.
But walked around. Oh, I should say this. While we were doing that, my wife was meeting Joey Fatone.
Oh, that's right. From NSYNC.
So we missed out on meeting Joey Fatone. She said he was really nice.
Yeah.
But so she got an autograph from him, and then just kind of walked around. Didn't really meet any more of the celebrity guests that they had.
Yeah, we just did a lot of looking. Like, oh, there's
we were looky-loos.
Mm-hmm.
The cast of Dexter.
Yeah, a bunch of Dexter people.
Yeah, the cast of Dexter, with the exception of Michael C. Hall. He had to cancel because he's doing something else, I think, filming something. But most of the cast of Dexter were there. And my wife and I used to watch the shit out of that show. So same. When we were actually in the photo op.
Second photo op. She was at the
With panel. The second photo op, she went and sat in on the panel, and she said it was really awesome.
Yeah.
But got our photo op. my wife sneaked her way into there too because she wanted to meet John Carpenter. So
And she wanted to stand
She
with me
got in
instead
there.
of you.
what'd you say?
Since she wanted to sit with me or stand next to me instead of you. So it looks
Yeah.
like she's my wife.
Well, listen, I didn't know where to stand.
Yeah, no. Like we said earlier, we were starstruck. It was like, oh, where do I go?
We got up there, and so I stood on his right side, and then David stood on his left side, and and there was no room on his other, like next to me.
Right. Yeah, I was on
The
the
only room
roomier
was
side.
next to you, and so my wife stood then next to you.
Yep. And then John was like,
And I
whoa,
didn't even-
whoa, be a gentleman and get out of here. And he like pushed me aside and like brought your wife in. So I'm just sitting on the
Yeah.
outside like, oh, I'm here too as well. But it
So,
was cool. And then
if
took
you-
the photo. He gave us fist bumps and stuff.
Yeah, and if you crop the photo just right, it just looks like David and my wife standing there.
Yeah. It just
Like
cropped you
prom
out of
photo.
it.
and John Carpenter, crop all of us.
Yeah, I should have put my
But-
arms around her like, yeah, very prom style.
But that was a good photo. It ended up looking really good. And then we went outside, and we had seen them earlier, but it was David mentioned the original station wagon from Halloween. And you know, if you're interested in that, I would recommend looking up. Sean Clark has a YouTube channel. I think it's under Malfunction.
Malfunction.
And SEAN is the last part of that. So Malfunction. But he did a whole video reviewing this car and talking to the owners. And we went outside, and I talked to the owner, and David talked to the owner, and we both talked to the owner.
We talked to him for
And we were
probably
looking
a good
at the
half
car.
hour. Quite a while.
Yeah, it was about 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, we talked to them, and they were some of the coolest guys ever, these New York guys, and they were like, come on out later, bring a chair, just sit up. We're just hanging out here. And I was like, all right, cool.
They were way cool. And that car is gorgeous. I mean, it's like fully restored. And that guy
Fully
that owns the
restored.
car also owns the Christine car.
Yeah,
Kind of
by
blew
the
my
way,
mind.
that
It's like, oh man, it's amazing.
that Christine car is going to be at a show. I think the Lexington, Kentucky show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not
Which
going.
I'm not going to be able to go to that one. So they were really cool. And we told them we'd see them later anyway, because we were going to come out here for a photo op.
Yeah.
Went back inside, putzed around for a little bit, ran into a guy who did special effects for Life Force,
Yeah, and the Star Wars movies.
Return of the
like original-
Jedi, or
Yeah, I can't
or
remember.
Empire
Was it
Strikes Back?
Empire? Yeah.
it was one of the ones that had Yoda in it. So either Empire or Jedi, one of the older ones that
But
had
not
Yoda
both?
in it.
I couldn't remember.
It could have been both. Who knows? I talked to him about Life
Wasn't all
Force.
three? Yeah. He was really nice. He was very chatty.
He was really cool. I probably could have talked to him for another hour.
Yeah, and he had a cool British accent.
He did. But really nice guy. And then also John Russo, who was the co-writer of Night of the Living Dead, was there just hanging out in a booth. And we walked by, and he's like,
Yeah.
hey, how's it going?
Yeah, he wasn't even on the guest list. That was cool.
Yeah. And I'm like, good. How are you? And I looked, and I'm like, John Russo. And then I like looking at all the stuff that he had, and I'm like, this guy wrote Night of the Living
Yeah,
Dead.
this
Like,
is the guy, right?
one of the most influential horror movies especially a zombie fucking movie
Yep.
of all time.
Crazy. And then
And he
right
was
next
selling-
to him was the other guy. They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Yeah, that guy. The actor who played that guy. But he was selling like signed checks, like cash
yeah, from
checks
George
from
A.
George
Romero.
Romero. Yeah. I almost bought one.
I didn't say, are you
should've.
still kicking yourself for not getting one?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll have more. Listen, there are a bunch of people that live in Pittsburgh, so they're going to be at all these other cons.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll get one. You'll get one eventually.
Sure, I say that now. Anyway,
He sold the last one.
got our second picture with John Carpenter then in front of the station wagon. That was kind of cool because we showed up a little bit late, but we had the VIP passes. But we were a little bit late, and we were like, oh, well, it's not that bad. The line's not that long.
Yeah, the line will
whatever.
move quick, so it doesn't really matter. And they hadn't separated VIP from everyone else, so we're just like, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we didn't care. But then the guy comes in, he goes, if you're VIP, just take a step left. And we took a step left, and then all of a sudden we were in the front of the line.
Yeah, I think we're like the second or third person.
Yeah, they let the like anybody who's disabled, like can't walk or anything like
Yeah,
that,
they go
in
first.
before us.
We were like right after that.
But right after that, yeah, we were like, oh, okay. So we just kind of fell into that one.
Oh yeah, and I should also say you're a real son of a bitch because John Carpenter comes rolling up. He was a little bit late. I think he had gone to dinner or something, but they pulled like a car right up to where the shoot was, and he gets out and he's got his sunglasses on. He looks cool as hell. He's got his sport coat and everything. And you're like, well, if John's gonna wear his sunglasses in the photo, I'm gonna wear my sunglasses. So you put your sunglasses on, and I'd actually brought my McCready sunglasses to the show to show you and your wife, and I was like, oh, I should get those, but they were in the car, and there just wasn't enough time.
Yep.
So I wish I had worn sunglasses in the photo, but oh well.
So David is in between a John Carpenter and a Bret sandwich, both with sunglasses, and there's David just like, meh.
Oh, I don't have sunglasses.
But you got to stand next to John Carpenter that time, so
That's true. That was cool. And it was neat seeing him react because that was the first time he had seen that car since they filmed the movie. So he kind of took a moment before they started taking pictures of just kind of admiring it, and he got inside and was looking around. He signed the dashboard. That was really
and
cool.
the funny thing is they were like, hey, get in the car, sign it, and all this kind of stuff, and he does that, and then he gets out and he said something to the owner, and the owner goes, no, this is the original one. This is the one from the movie, and he goes,
It's
it
the
is?
car. Yeah.
And I saw the look on his face, and he just was like, oh my gosh, and then he like looked at it again, and he was just like, wow. But I think that car's in better shape now than it was in 1978 when they filmed the movie.
No, it looked spotless. And then like the interior was all redone. Like, I mean, he had restored it. It looked great.
You know, I never looked inside of it. When you were looking
Really?
inside of it, I was talking to the owner.
Oh, okay.
And I never went over and looked inside of it because I was like, oh, I'll look inside of it later. And I never did.
It was perfect. It looked really good.
Whatever. That was cool. Other than that, walked around. Like I said, a lot of vendors. They said there was like 600 vendors.
600, I think. Yeah, there's a lot.
So, but
A lot of vendors. I didn't buy anything.
Well, you, to be fair, you spent a pretty penny on all John Carpenter autographs.
I did, and I also have a big expense that I'll be paying today that I'll talk about in a future episode. Yeah, more to come on that.
So that's pretty much it. That night we went out to eat. Went to Primanti Brothers.
That place was good, man.
Kind of a popular, well-known place in Pittsburgh. It's like on their sandwiches they put coleslaw and French fries.
French fries inside the sandwich.
Yeah,
It was delicious. What did you get? The roast beef?
yeah. I got the roast beef and cheddar.
I got the Raging Cajun. It was delicious.
And that's pretty much it. The next morning we went to the Monroeville Mall where they filmed Dawn of the Dead.
That was really cool to see. It's weird though because it looks. I mean, obviously, that movie's 45 or almost 45 years old, so it's gonna look a little different. And it did.
Totally different.
But then there was stuff that was the same, which was cool. You're like, oh, okay, I recognize this.
It looked different, but it looked the same.
Right.
It's kind of weird. But they have this Night of the Living Dead,
Like a George A. Romero museum.
Yeah, is that what it is? The George Romero
like
Museum. And it's like this gift shop, but then in the back they have all these like different tableaus. So it's like, oh, the Night of the Living Dead tableau, and it'll tell you facts, and it has screen used props. And then Dawn of the Dead, and have screen used props, and it just kind of goes through all these different zombie movies that he was involved in or that was inspired by. Yeah.
That museum was a lot bigger than I was expecting. Like once we got back there, I was like, oh shit, there's a lot to this. But it was neat seeing all the props, and like they had the thing that I thought was the coolest was they had the actual elevator from Dawn of the Dead that Flyboy gets out of at the towards the end. Like they had reconstructed it piece by piece, but it was the original. That was really cool.
And
part
the
of the
original
escalator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend that. So if anybody finds their way out in Monroeville, like check out the mall, do the museum.
It's like $8.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Totally.
It was cool.
So we walked around the entire mall, did that thing, took some pictures. If you're watching the YouTube, you'll see some pictures as we're talking about it. Then headed back to my house. You and I, we were really fucking tired, but we were just kind of, just shooting the shit. Oh, I took you for a walk around my
That's right. We went for a little lover's walk, a little stroll
down to the river.
It's a nice town you got, man. It was really cool.
Thanks. I built it myself. I've really done a lot of improvements to it in the last 3 months that I've been here.
Yeah, since you've moved in, like all the property values have gone up because of you. It's all you. They give you a key to the city. They got a plaque and everything.
Yep. I'm the new mayor.
Yeah, it's all a bit much, but hey, you do you.
The Sunday morning. So I should talk about this. Monster Mania Con, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I looked into it, and I found out that it was only 20 minutes away from the Philadelphia International Airport. I knew I had to drop you off at the airport Sunday morning, so I was thinking to myself, well, I could just swing by Monster Mania.
Yeah, just keep driving another 20 minutes.
And get a few things signed. Now, this was when Skeet Ulrich was on the guest list. And so I had told you, and you were like, oh, that's cool, whatever. I mean, there wasn't really anybody there that you needed. I don't think, because you don't need Skeet Ulrich. You don't need Matthew Lillard. It was like a Scream reunion.
Yeah, it was all people. And I think Nev Campbell was originally there, and she canceled, but we've already met her a couple times.
Yeah, but there was the one cool thing that we needed was Deborah S. Hayes, who plays Claudette in Friday the 13th. Claudette was the first female. She was a camp counselor. She gets killed, like 1955 flashback.
Yeah.
Her and another counselor go off, and he's got a big boner, and Mrs. Voorhees chops
cuts
it off.
the boner, Bobbitt style.
And then she kills Claudette, and it's like a freeze frame, and that's how the movie starts, right? So it's like, wow. I mean, that's the first time she's ever been to a convention. So we got to get her on our original Friday the 13th one sheets that we have, right? So I had mentioned that to you, and you're like, cool, I'll bring that. And I was like, that'll be easy, because as cool as that is, she's not going to have a long ass line. That's going to be
the
quick.
same draw that some of the other guests were going to have.
Something like a Skeet Ulrich has, right?
Yeah.
So, and Lance Guest was going to be, or was going to be there. And so I'd mentioned that to you too. I have a last Starfighter.
Last fart starter.
I was like, you were in the last fart starter, right?
Yeah. He's like, I was.
He's like, I'm still am.
But that was cool because we were supposed to meet him at Texas Frightmare, and he canceled. So I was like, oh, sweet. Can you take my Halloween 2 one sheet, which I had just gotten signed by John Carpenter, so I was going to be bringing it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like, yeah, sure, pal.
So that was on the list, and then I was like, and the rest will be kind of like, oh, maybe I'll go. Oh, Kane Hodder's going to be there. Maybe I'll get him to sign my Friday the 13th Part 7 NECA figure. Mm-hmm. My extra one that I had. All this other kind of stuff. All right. Tell my wife about it. My wife's like, fuck yeah, I want to go. She wants to see Skeet Ulrich, right?
Yep.
She's a woman.
Who doesn't?
She knows how hot he is. So she was like, yes, I want to go. I want to see him, because she didn't get to meet him when I did. I said, all right. Well, Skeet Ulrich cancels.
Bummer.
About 2 weeks ago. So
it was funny too when he canceled. You texted me and you were like, well, maybe they'll get like another big Scream person. And I was like, this late in the game? No, They're not going to get anybody. You're screwed.
Well, they got David Arquette.
Yep, I was wrong.
So that increased my load from the 2 posters that David was going to give me to now 7 posters, because David had to give me an additional. No. Did you give me 5? Yes. An addition.
I can't remember. An original Scream one sheet, a Scream art print, 2 Scream 5 posters. So 4 plus the Halloween 2 poster plus the
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, so I think 6.
Yeah, so I had those 6 now.
Plus your stuff.
Also they got Kenny,
the cameraman.
W. Earl Brown.
Yeah.
W. Earl Brown plays Kenny, the cameraman, for Gal Weathers, and so it's like, oh, I got to get him. And is it Waddell?
Yeah, I think so.
Lee Waddell, who
the stuntman,
was Ghostface under the mask.
Yeah, and I had already met him, but you needed him.
I needed him. So now it went from not caring about whatever to all of a sudden now I got to get 3 Scream cast members. So I'm like, all right, we're going to go on Sunday. There's no VIP on Sunday. So I couldn't buy a VIP ticket, but I buy tickets, and my kids want to go too. So now me and the whole
big family affair.
Hop into the car. We take David down to the airport. We get him down there. Kick him out at about 8:30 in the morning.
You just slowed. You didn't even stop. You just opened the door and were like, all right, tuck and roll, buddy.
I had to get to Jersey, man.
Got to go. Time is money.
Drop him off at about 8:30. The show starts at 10. We're making good time.
Yeah, my flight was at 10:30, so I was like, oh, when you get there, text me and let me know how things are going. I'll be here. I'll be getting just probably boarding.
Yep. Well, we get to the show and there's this long ass line outside, and I'm like, well, the show hasn't even started yet. They're probably not even letting people in. And fortunately, there was a worker there, and he goes, "This is the David Arquette line."
Oh, nice.
I was like, "All right." He goes, if you bought tickets, go inside, get your wristband, come back out, get in the line." All right, cool. Well, I couldn't leave someone there because I need to get them to have their wristbands. Right. So we all go in there, get our wristbands, come out. Only a couple other people had kind of staggered in.
That's good.
Get in line, and I'm like, all right, well, it's getting close to 10. As soon as it hits 10, I told my wife and daughter, I said, go look around. And my son. I said, go look around, do whatever. I'll wait in this line.
I'm going to be here a while.
Yeah. And I was like, someone said, one of the workers was like, he is not slow, but he takes his time.
Yeah,
and
slow
talks
in the
to
best
everybody.
way. Talkative, friendly.
Yes.
Engaging.
Yes. But I also read that he stays until everybody's done.
That's cool.
Well, the show stopped.
So you knew you were in either way. You're like, all right, I'm going to get him.
Either way, it's going to happen. The show ends at 5:00 p.m. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, well, I've waited longer for lesser people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the worst case scenario, it's going to be 5:00, probably ish.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't the last person in line. I was
Right.
probably 2/3 deep.
Okay.
Maybe. Or maybe half. I don't know. Somewhere around there. And I'm waiting. And I'm waiting. Then I get a text message from David, who's also waiting.
Oh, God. So my flight boarded on time. Like, everything was good. Like, I think I texted you. I was like, oh, I'm on the plane. Like, I hope you have fun. I'm getting ready to take off. I'm going to be
And I was
in
thinking
airplane mode in a minute, probably.
And I was thinking, by the time David lands in Phoenix, I will have possibly gotten to David Arquette.
Yeah. And so then I get on the plane and I'm sitting there and we're sitting there forever. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Apparently the plane had some sort of fueling issue. I still don't quite get it, but they kept coming on the intercom like, we're just still working on it. We should be good to go here shortly. Just thank you for your patience. And this happens 3 or 4 times. And then I started texting. I was like, well, I've been sitting on this plane for an hour.
Yeah.
Still nothing. And then eventually they were like, everybody get off the plane. It reminded me a lot of what happened to you when you came out here for Mad Monster. So they couldn't fix whatever was wrong with it. So they had everybody get off. And then they had us wait by the gate. And they're like, okay, we're going to continue working on it. So we'll have an announcement for you guys in like 15, 20 minutes about whether or not we're going to be able to continue with this plane, or we might have to move you to a different plane. Meanwhile, all these other people, I felt so bad around me, were freaking out because they had connecting flights that they were going to miss. So they're scrambling, trying to get all their flights changed and everything. Anyway, that brief delay turned into a 3.5 hour delay. And we had to change gates and get a new plane. And then when we got on that plane, they had to move all the baggage from the old plane to the new one. So then I sat on that plane before we took off for another 45 minutes or so. Yeah. It was a long day.
Sounds like it. Well, I waited. While you were waiting, I was waiting. And my wife and daughter went to go meet Danielle Harris. I had gotten an autograph from my daughter years ago of Danielle Harris from Halloween 4, and she wanted to meet her now this time. And so she and my wife went and met her. So that was kind of cool. But then I was like, look, I need some stuff signed.
I got to get all these other people still.
So I asked my wife, I say, hey, can you, because she was right by Kane Hodder with that Danielle Harris thing. And I said, hey, can you go just take this and go get Kane to sign this for me? And so she did that. She goes, my husband's, she was like, can you make it out to my husband? He's here. And she's like, and he goes, well, where is he? She goes, well, he's waiting in line for David Arquette. And he's like, how long is it? And she told him, and he was like, oh God. He's like, all right.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you got that signed. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I'll throw a picture up of it, but, I'd met him so many times before. So it's like, not that he remembers me, but I remember him, and it's like, whatever. So then I was like, my wife comes back, and I said, well, I need to go get these Friday the 13th posters signed. I need to go get this Halloween 2 and this Last Starfighter. So she's like, just go. I'll wait here. So I went with, it was. I went with my son, and we got all those signed. Lance Guest, there was nobody at his table. I think he just came back from a photo op. So he was like kind of just.
It's always nice when that works out, when you catch them right when they come back and there's no line.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to bring that up too.
Oh, yes, yes.
At Steel City Con, two things about Steel City Con before I continue. We, at the end of like that first day, we started walking around and we're like, let's go check out John Carpenter's like room or whatever. Or we were going to go check out the Dexter.
See the Dexter. People. Yeah, because they were coming back from a panel and they were at the hotel where Carpenter was, not in the main convention hall. So we're like, let's go check that out. Let's go be looky-loos and look at the Dexter people.
We went in there and nobody was there.
Yeah.
Only Sean Patrick Flannery.
And then as we were walking there, something happened. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Joey Fatone was right in front of us. And my wife goes, oh, look, that's Joey Fatone. And I was like, oh, really? And then he dropped something. And I picked it up and his friend goes, hey, Joey, you dropped that. And he came back and he got it from me. He's like, thanks. And it was like a styrofoam.
Yeah, like inside of a poster tube or something, probably to keep it from crunching. And he started beating his friend with it.
Yeah. I think they were having a few drinks.
Yeah, they looked like they were having a good time. But then I didn't even catch that it was Joey Fatone. And then later on, you were like, "That was Joey Fatone," and I was like, "The poster guy?" And you're like, "Yeah." And I was like, I wasn't even paying attention because that was right after our photo op. So I think I was busy like cropping our photos for Twitter or something.
Like, how do I make me look so pretty?
Yeah.
What filter should I use?
So we go back over there. The only Dexter person there is Sean Patrick Flannery, who was only in like one season of Dexter, but that's neither here nor there. Still seems like a cool guy. And he was just about ready to finish for the day. So we were like, oh, okay. And then we looked into John Carpenter's room. Not a single soul in there except for John Carpenter.
Yeah, he had just gotten back.
And we were like,
fuck.
Do we get our 8x10 signed by him?
And at this point, those were in your car. So it's like we'd have to run back to the car and then come back and get him to sign it. But his autograph also wasn't cheap, so it was like,
No, it wasn't.
So we were like, nah, we're good. We got the picture and we got the memory. That's all we need.
But the other thing I wanted to mention too, Time Bomb Toys. They're based out of Pittsburgh, and they had a booth there. But I follow them on Instagram, or the Swearwolves follows them on Instagram, and they're always posting really cool. They have a really cool toy store, NECA stuff, and a lot of modern horror stuff, and they had these cases, and I messaged the guy. I'm like, where did you get these cases to display his action figures? And he's like, this is where they are. I can order some for you.
Sweet.
And I said, wonderful. I'm in Pennsylvania and I'm going to be at the convention. Are you going to have a booth there? He says, yes, I am. I'll order them. You don't have to pay for shipping. You just come pick them up at the convention. Perfect. I'll bring them there. And so we've been in communication. So I wanted to give a shout out to Time Bomb Toys. Look them up online, and I'll throw in some pictures of those cases.
Yeah, those cases look good.
They look really cool. I think I might add some LED lights to them.
Oh, that'll be cool. Yeah, light it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, Monster Mania, Lance Guest coming back from a photo op. And I'm like, oh, there he is. Brody and I just go charging up there, and this guy cuts us off. All right, whatever.
Wait, who is this for?
It's this dude, Lance Guest.
Oh, Lance Guest.
So this dude cuts us off. I'm like, no big deal. I got to get these posters ready anyway, right? Because I'm like, okay. Right. And I'm getting all nervous because I'm like, I got David's posters. I gotta know where he wants them to get signed at. And
yeah, I had to give him Bret detailed instructions of like where I wanted each poster signed and like what colors and everything. Yeah, I was a real diva.
It was. We spent a greater part of Saturday night
planning,
looking up posters online and planning where autographs should go.
Placement in color.
And living in fictional worlds where Jamie Lee Curtis signs them also, and Kurt
we gotta
Russell.
Leave room for Jamie Lee.
So this kid who goes up there and starts, guy, I don't know, he wasn't a kid, Goes up there. Probably hasn't bathed in about 13 weeks.
Oh, one of those
and
guys.
has this Michael Myers, I guess, costume on. He has a Michael Myers mask on from like the new Halloween. Mm-hmm. But he's wearing like a Freddy sweater. And it was not hot by any stretch of the imagination. Because
it was warm?
You know.
Yeah.
It was warm. And in a costume like that, you're going to be warm. And so he starts talking to Lance Guest, and Lance Guest is like, I can't hear you, dude. And he lifts up his mask, and his hair is so sweat matted to his face.
Oh, that's so gross.
It's just dripping. And then he proceeds to be like, you were in that movie. He's like, yeah. He goes, your character was like Jimmy, right? He's like, yep.
Uh-huh.
And you know, bless his heart, Lance Guest is just being nice to this guy, right? Because he doesn't want to be an asshole. And they have this whole conversation.
Are you just sitting there like...
Takes about... Yep. But I'm being cool, too. I'm just kind of smiling, and I'm like, I've had to deal with these people before.
It smells great in here.
He finishes up, and I go up to Lance Guest, and he's like, thank you for being patient. And I was like, no, thank you. I was like, it goes with the territory.
You're like, I get it, pal.
Now, Mr. Guest, you were in the last Starfighter, right?
And he's like,
your
oh,
name was
Jesus
Jimmy
Christ.
in Halloween 2.
Yeah, your name was Jimmy. I think you told the other gentleman. Is that correct?
Like, yes.
Well,
I haven't bathed in several days. I hope that's all right. Trying to save water. We all got to do our part.
right? California's in a drought right now. A lot of wildfires. He signs your Halloween 2 poster, and we're talking, and then I bring out my Last Starfighter, and I'm like, I love this movie, and, you know, what, do you have any memories about it? And he's like, I just remember I was working a lot, because I'm in almost every scene of the movie, you know, that's like my movie.
Right.
And I said, you know, I think this movie is very underrated. I said, with a little bit more budget, you know, to go towards the special effects, I think it would have been a much more popular movie. You know, but it's a really good movie. And he's like, yeah, whatever. But I was kind of, I think I came across like, yeah, this movie, boy, it tanked at the box office.
Real bomb. Should have been better. Should have done better, huh?
Yeah.
Who's to
So I
blame
feel
for
like I
that?
came across
You?
that. Afterwards, I turned to my son and I go, did I sound like an asshole? He goes, no, it was fine. And I was
That's
like,
good.
okay. Well, so then he's like, oh, yeah, let's take a picture. And the lady who was helping him was taking pictures, and she grabbed my phone, and I was going to sit down, and Dick Warlock was right next to him. And he goes, oh, I thought you never asked. And he sits down there. So I have a picture of Dick Warlock and Lance Guest.
Oh, that's cool.
That she took also. And I'm standing right there, but I'm not in the photo. So I'm like, wow.
Little did you know Dick Warlock farted on that chair just for you.
Dick Warlock, little guy.
Yeah.
He's a little guy.
He's not a very big dude. He's
I'm
super
like, you
nice,
were Michael
though.
Myers? Yeah, he is. So I sit down with Lance Guest, and then I'm like, and then he's like, what's your name? And I was like, oh, my name's Brett. And he's like, oh, nice to meet you. And we shake hands. And then I go, oh, and this is my son, Brody. And he goes, Brody, I signed that name quite a bit.
Really?
And I'm like, you do?
Yeah, for
then he goes,
Jaws the
yeah.
Revenge. That's right.
He goes, Brody. And he pointed to the Jaws of Revenge. And I go, oh, yes, Brody. I go, indirectly, that's who he's named after. I go, indirectly, he's named after the character from Mallrats, who is named after the character from Jaws. So,
Oh, my God.
and so then I started rambling, and I was like,
And then in Jaws, The Revenge, Mario Van Peebles.
Was Michael Caine nice? What was it like
Yes.
working
Did
with
he
a
blink?
legend?
he was cool. Went over to Deborah S. Hayes. I kind of speed this up a little bit. Went over to Deborah S. Hayes. She was really cool. I asked her how her convention was going, because this was the first convention she's ever done.
Oh, first
convention.
period? That's crazy.
Period.
Did she like
And
it?
I said, well, she said she did like it. And she's like, she almost started crying because
Aw.
she goes, it's restored my faith in humanity because of how nice everybody has been. And I said, well, we all really are usually at these conventions. Everybody's usually really nice.
Yeah.
If there's one thing about these conventions, yes, I'll make fun of Stinky Guy with the Michael Myers mask.
That's
But-
true. Everybody's really good natured, though.
Everybody's nice. Nobody's purposely an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, the only time we've ever really encountered that is if people have had too much to drink. Sometimes people are a little rowdy. That's about it.
Yeah, and even that, they're just having fun and
Exactly. Yeah, I don't
rowdy.
think we've ever encountered like a true asshole.
Not anybody who's like, hey, man, I was in line before you. And I'll even tell you a story about that with the David Arquette thing, but nobody's ever like really.
Right.
Anyway, so she was really cool. Got my picture with her. She signed our stuff. And she said she lives out in LA. So I said, are you going to do more conventions now? And she said, I think so. She
That's
goes,
awesome.
I was told, she goes, they just tell me where to go. And I go, I think she goes, I think there's one in September. And I go, well, that's probably Son of Monster Palooza. She goes, I don't know the name of it. And I go, well, that might be the one that you're going to.
Probably.
So that might be the one she's going to. We'll see.
Nice. Well, I'm going to that one, so maybe I'll see her there.
Maybe you'll meet her.
Maybe I will.
Very friendly.
Cool.
She went back to line and continued to wait in line. Now, I'd made friends with the guy behind me, and he had photo ops throughout the day.
So you were holding his spot. You guys were taking turns.
And I said, dude, just go to your photo ops.
Do your thing.
and
I'll
find
hold
me.
the spot. He comes back.
And
You're
he's like, really?
Who's this guy? I don't know who this is. Never seen him.
I
in my
was gonna
life."
fuck with him. But I decided not to. But we exchanged numbers, and I was like, if we get closer, I will text you so you can come
Oh, that's
back.
cool. Nice.
One of his photo ops, though, was with David Arquette. So I go, as long as you're in that photo op,
Yeah.
this
Arquette
line ain't
can't
moving.
Be two places at once. We don't have the technology yet.
If he is, something's really
Something's
off
up.
here.
Something's amiss. There's a glitch in the matrix.
So he was very thankful for that. We finally get up there because he was on the second floor. There was like a more conference rooms on the second floor. So he had the second floor and he had this big ass conference room. And then they had a holding area for people in there. So the line was outside. They would let like chunks of 40 in at a time, put them in this holding area.
Put you in a fucking
They would all
airlock.
go. Dude, it was fucking crazy.
Whole production. That's cool.
Matthew Lillard's line was long as fuck too, because
bet.
it always is.
Yeah.
And he's very friendly and talkative. Jamie Kennedy, also very friendly, also very talkative. His line was long, but not as long as Matthew Lillard's.
I gotta say, all the Scream people we've met are all incredibly nice people.
I haven't told you my David Arquette. He could be a total asshole.
He might be. Oh, I'm excited. I watched Scream on the airplane, the original.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. He wasn't an asshole. Super nice. So we finally get up there.
Yeah.
And I have, of course, a billion things for him to sign.
You
Only
had
one
your whole
of which
family
is
with
mine.
you, right? You all were there for Arquette.
Yes.
That's cool.
I'll put the picture up, but we all are there, and I start talking to him, and I'm like, I got a bunch of things for you to sign. And then I'm like pointing out, like, because David had all these instructions for me, like,
Oh, have them write it in here and have them write this in cursive and print this.
and I'm like, oh fuck.
Wasn't that specific?
No,
But I did
so
have like general
did all
like,
that.
regions and colors of markers, and I was like, and if you can get quotes from him, I'd like a quote on this poster, but not
Yeah.
on this one, stuff like that. Yeah.
And he goes, on the Scream 5 ones, which are really cool one sheets, and I really should have bought one. I'm kind of kicking myself because the one Scream one sheet that you have
The one with all
is
the
pretty
actors
fucking
on it?
awesome. With the actors on it, it's
Yeah.
pretty fucking awesome.
It's a cool poster.
So I'm going to get that one,
Nice.
I think. So he's like, how about yellow? He's like, no one's done yellow yet. He goes, you'd be the first to do yellow. And I was like, wow, all right.
Rare.
I go, go ahead and do it.
Fuck it.
So he
Do it,
signed it,
Mr.
in
Arquette.
yellow. It's not my poster. Fuck it.
Well,
But I told him that we
it
really-
looks really good and it pops.
It does. It does. I told him that my wife and I told him that we really like the movie You Can't Kill David Arquette, which is kind of a mockumentary-ish film of him getting back into professional wrestling. You got to watch it. It's awesome. And he was like, oh, thank you. Thank you very much. He's very soft-spoken. He's like, oh, thank you.
I can see that.
Actually, the first thing I said to him was, I said, first, thank you for doing this. And he was like, oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome.
Oh, nice.
So we take the picture, and then my son is going to get in the picture. My son's like 6'3".
Your son's fucking huge.
Plus he was wearing his Nikes, and his Nikes add an inch, so he's like 6'4", 6'4.5" in his Nikes.
That's
David
insane.
Arquette's like
Your son's not even done growing. He's gonna be like 6'8".
David Arquette's like 5'11" ish.
Yeah.
I'm 6 foot, so I'm standing next to him. My daughter's in between us, and then my wife was standing next to Arquette, and Brody was gonna stand in front, and I go, Brody, you gotta get back here. You're tall. And David Arquette goes, oh yeah, you're a big boy. He's like, come back here. And so then as they're taking the picture, I'm like, this is gonna be our Christmas card this year.
Aw.
Your
son's so tall they had to move the light because it was just casting a shadow over David Arquette. You're like, oh no.
Well, and then as we're walking away, Christina goes, I said goodbye and I shook hands with him, and he's like, oh, he's like very like, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's
folksy.
like that's my impersonation of David Arquette. Oh yeah, oh thanks, man. And I was like, it was a pleasure to meet you, and he goes, yeah, pleasure to meet you too.
Aw, I'm jealous.
Like, yeah. And as we're walking away, Christina goes, he just kept looking at Brody. She goes, I think he was taken with how tall Brody was, because he just kept like looking at him. I don't know. Maybe he just didn't know what the dynamic was. Maybe he didn't realize that it was he must have realized it was our son, right? Like, why else would I have this kid with us?
Teenage kid, this gigantic child.
So, anyway, really cool. That was 3:30.
Oh, that's when you finally got to meet Arquette? Which was right when I was boarding my flight.
3:30, was it?
No. I boarded 2 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah.
My flight was at 10:30.
That sucks. So it was 3:30, and I'm like, I haven't gotten to see any of the vendors. And my kids were like, oh, can we just go? And I'm like, well, part of the fun for me is looking at the vendors.
Yeah. Looking upon their wares.
She put them it was at a hotel, so she put them in like the lobby somewhere, and she's like, just sit here. I'm going to take your dad around to these vendors, because she had seen them already. She's like, let's go. And she shows me around. Cool stuff.
Did you buy any cool shit?
I bought the black and white mummy figure.
Oh, cool.
Which is not much different than the regular mummy figure, because it's only black and white, but
it's still cool though.
It's got a different packaging. I don't have it around here. Otherwise I'd show you, but it is pretty fucking cool. I was like, that's the brand new one. And the guy's like, yep.
Hell yeah, it is, brother.
I want that. The Buffalo Bill house from Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, yes. You texted me about that last night.
That guy was there, the guy who owns it. And
you see the house is in Pittsburgh?
It's in Pittsburgh, right outside of Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I talked to him, and we have decided that we are going to rent the house. You can rent it for a night, or as many nights as you want to, I guess.
It's basically like an Airbnb, right?
Yeah, you get the whole house.
That's fucking awesome.
Nobody checks in on you. Nobody does anything, and it sleeps up to 8. So we are extending the invite to you and your wife to come out whenever we plan it. I mean,
let me know,
and I asked the guy. I was like, or my wife said, how far are you guys booked out? And he's like, we still have availability, like in 6 weeks, like you could get in. Now, we're probably not going to do that, because that would be a quick, pretty much turnaround for you if you guys are interested. But if you guys are interested, we will definitely do it, because you guys could just fly into Pittsburgh.
That would be perfect. Yeah, dude. And then I didn't tell you this yesterday, but I told my wife about it, and she was actually, before I told her about it, she was like, because I was telling her about Pittsburgh and stuff. She was like, I would really like to visit. Like, so if you ever go out there again, maybe next time I'll come along. I'd like to see Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh. And I was like, well, Bret just told me, and I told her about the Buffalo Bill house. She's like, it's the actual house from the movie? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, well, no one was actually like kidnapped and like tortured there. No one was murdered.
It's just where they filmed it.
It's just where they filmed it. And she's like, yeah, I guess that's not weird. And she's like, actually, that sounds kind of cool. So she is interested. So perhaps we will do that.
So let's do that, or let's try to plan something.
Yeah.
But there's also a new surprise happening. with that house that he told us about. Because I said, oh, is the basement, does it have a well in the basement? And he looked at me and he goes, as a matter of fact, it does. And I go, what? He goes, well, the original well, he goes, they filmed stuff in the basement, but the well scenes were all done on a set.
Makes sense, yeah.
But we have dug a replica well in the actual house, and Tom Savini created it.
That's awesome.
Like, did it all. Like, him and his effects company that's outside of Pittsburgh.
That's way cool.
And I'm like, I go, are you fucking kidding me? I like looking at this guy. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And he's like, no. And I'm like, we are definitely booking. And he's like, awesome. And so we got all of his information, and so we're going to do that. So
that's awesome.
That was it. Then we got Mr. Softy. Oh, another thing. So there was a Mr. Softy truck.
That's what I call my penis. Softy.
It's ice cream.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
But there was an ice cream truck. Yeah. Mr. Softy ice cream truck right outside. I guess it's an East Coast thing. It's the first time I've ever seen a Mr. Softy.
Yeah, I never
besides this guy. But anyway, we went out and got Mr. Softy, and as we were going out to do that, a car drives by, and I look and I'm like, that's fucking Gary Busey.
Huh.
And he had his window down, and they were driving slow, and like we had to like walk in front of him, and so I gave him the wave, and I look back and I'm like, that's fucking Gary Busey in the passenger seat.
Yeah, that's the ginger dead man himself.
Yeah. And my son goes, where would I know Gary Busey from? And I'm like, thinking of all the movies that he's done, and I go, Ginger Dead Man. And he goes, really? So I yell to the car. I go, Mr. Busey. And he leans out and he gives us a little wave. And the wave looked like this. Just his fingers just flopping.
Was it claws?
Yes, they look like claws hanging out. But he looked right at me. He's all,
aww.
And he smiled.
He gave you a little, like a dog begging for a treat.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Oh, W. Earl Brown also signed
he said he was nice.
one sheets, who was a very nice guy. I didn't get pictures with him. He was charging more than I thought he should charge, but
what are you going to do?
You know, yeah. And then Lee Woodell also met. So all in all, Monster Mania, very good con. Not as organized as Steel City Con, but equally as organized as
nonetheless.
Equally as organized as Texas Frightmare. I'll say that.
There you go. Well, good, man. I'm glad you had
that's
fun.
the wrap up.
Sounds cool. I wish I could have gone.
And then you got
with that flight delay. I probably could have gone for a little bit, taking a taxi back to the airport.
That's what I said. I was like, you know what? David should have just taken a later flight, and that would have been the move. The move would have been to reschedule the flight to like 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
Take a late flight, yeah.
Yeah, because you still would have got home into Phoenix, like with the 3-hour times difference. You still would have got home to Phoenix like about 10 o'clock.
Right. Yeah, I should
Phoenix
have done
time.
that. Oh, well.
But you live and learn.
Yeah, maybe next time.
I was all over this goddamn state and into another state this fucking weekend.
You're a maniac.
I am. And now we just recorded this, and this lasted a fucking...
This is going to be a long-ass episode.
This was an hour recap.
Pretty much.
Anyway.
I'm going to cut it down to 10 minutes. Make it all choppy when I edit.
John Carpenter, David Arquette, Mr. Softy, Gary Busey.
Very nice. The sweaty guy.
Yeah, the sweaty, stinky guy in Lance Guest.
I cut everything out except the story about the stinky guy.
All right. Well, that's it for the recap, unless you have anything more.
Nope. Just thank you to you and your family for the hospitality. Had a blast. So thank you very much.
By all means. Hopefully next time you can come out and stay longer.
And I'm going to see you in person in like a month.
Yeah. We're going to see each other.
By the time this comes out, it'll be like a few weeks.
Yeah. In Cincinnati.
Yeah.
In 3 weeks from now.
Crazy.
At Horror Hound. So, and that one's going to be fun too, because we're going to have the Thing people, and that's the only poster we're really going to be getting.
Yeah,
signed.
as of right now, I'm only lugging one poster with me.
Two, right? Because you need to bring that small one.
2, and then a couple Petri dishes.
However, I do have to bring you your other fucking shit back.
Yay. Yeah, we'll have to lug those home. Thank you.
But no big deal. All right. Back to Bret and David.
Take it away, boys.
Wow. That sounded like a lot of fun.
Sounds like fun was had by all.
Everyone involved.
Great hijinks.
In Pittsburgh, everyone that we met along the way.
It's just good old-fashioned fun is what
Good
that
old-fashioned
is.
fun. Enough of that bullshit, David. We
No
don't
more
come
bullshit.
here just to fucking recap conventions for people.
Yeah,
Like,
we got other shit to talk about.
Sometimes people are like, "Listen, I want to hear your thoughts on a fucking horror movie that came out in 1988."
And
Because
then we oblige those people.
apparently every horror movie's come out in 1988. We've done
No
so many.
shit. Dude, I was thinking about that when I was watching. It's like, did 1988 was a good year for horror movies?
Good-ish. Like,
Yeah, I mean, varying quality, but volume-wise, 1988 was packed.
1982 was a good year too. I was listening
Yes.
to Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery have a new podcast called The Video Archives. If you're interested in hearing two people talk about movies, which if you listen to this, you probably are, but if you're interested in hearing two talented people talk about movies, go
Yeah,
check
famous people.
Go check out the Video Archives podcast. But they pick two movies every week that they
How original.
yeah. Well, we don't do that anymore, Quentin.
No.
That they actually have from the old Video Archives video store that they worked at. Tarantino bought the whole video store. So he has all
fucking
the
awesome.
old VHS tapes.
These are all the tapes.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he has it set up still in his house.
That's
like
awesome.
the video store.
So it looks like a video store.
I don't know, but I'd like to imagine that's what it's like. I'd like to
That's
imagine
how I
you
would
go
picture
into
it, yep.
Tarantino's basement or something and it looks like a video store,
And there's tapes everywhere.
which would be fucking awesome. But anyway,
Yeah, it would.
one of the movies they picked for this last episode was Firefox, which is a Clint Eastwood movie, also a video game. It's a Laserdisc game, but a Clint Eastwood movie from 1982, summer of 82. And they go through like all the movies that came out in 82 as far as like sci-fi movies goes, because Firefox, I guess, is a sci-fi-ish type movie.
Okay. Yeah, I've never seen it. I've heard of it, but haven't seen it.
It's Firefox. The Thing opened up, I think, the same weekend. E.T.,
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. There was another one, another big one as well. And it was like, fuck, 1982. If you like sci-fi movies, you were like, you got a boner the entire summer.
82 is stacked.
82 was stacked. So what 1982 was for sci-fi movies, 1988 is for horror movies, apparently. Because I was watching this and I was like, this movie came out. This movie came out the same year as a movie we talked about recently, Jason.
Oh, Part 7. Yeah, the
Jason
New Blood.
Part 7. Friday, I sound like my
Jason
mom.
7.
You gotta play the Nintendo? It's called a PlayStation, Mom.
Let me show you all my Nintendos.
Friday the 13th Part 7.
I remember as a kid, like a lot of people's parents just called everything Atari or everything
Everything
Nintendo.
was
Like,
Nintendo.
this is a Sega Genesis.
No, they're like, I don't
Yeah.
care. It's a Nintendo. It's like a fucking Q-tip. It plays.
Yeah,
Do you play video games on it? Yes. Then it's a Nintendo.
Then it's a Nintendo. Fact.
But yes, we are going to be talking about a movie that we haven't reviewed yet, obviously, but we've been wanting to talk about for a long time, and that movie is Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. Now, let's give this a little bit of a setup. Halloween 1 and 2, obviously we know. Halloween 2 came out in 1982, I believe.
81.
Ah, fuck.
Part 3 came out in 82.
Okay, part 3. Sci-fi movie also.
True. Sci-fi horror.
Halloween 1 and 2, direct sequels of each other. Well, you know what I mean. Halloween 2 is a direct sequel of one.
Same night.
Same night, same writer. John Carpenter wrote both of those. Different director, but that's beside the point. Halloween was originally going to be, everybody knows this fucking story, an anthology type. Each Halloween movie would be a different story, not just always Michael Myers or The Shape or whatever the fuck they wanted to call him. Halloween 3 came out and everybody was like, yeah, Halloween 3. And everybody went to see it in 1982. And they were like,
Where's Michael
Michael
Myers?
Myers? We want more Michael Myers.
What the fuck?
Mustafa Akkad, who owned the rights to this franchise, was like, you know what? We got to bring back Michael Myers.
Yeah, they're like, he burned alive and he had his eyes like gouged out. Like, what if he grew him back? And he didn't catch on fire.
Well,
Then what?
kind of. I mean, they
He's still on fire,
yeah,
I guess.
and he has bandages over his eyes at the beginning of the movie.
That's
but
true.
Laurie didn't. He can still see.
Yeah, maybe he got a cornea transplant or something.
So they were like, you know what, we're gonna bring back Michael Myers. That's what people wanted, and we're gonna put it in the fucking title and on the movie poster. And by the way, the movie poster for Halloween 4 is awesome.
The Part 4 poster is fucking awesome. They're expensive.
Are they?
Yeah, they're hard to find and they're
I haven't
pricey.
even looked into it. Now, the face that's in the poster
It's not the same as the face in the movie.
not the same as the mask that they use in the movie.
Yeah, the poster's way cooler.
We'll talk about that. But let's go through some of the stats here. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, was released on October 21st, 1988. David, what was the number one movie in the theater?
I'm going to
October
go
21st.
with Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
You are correct.
I thought so.
What was the number one song?
I'm going with an artist who was supposed to be at Steel City, but canceled. But we weren't going to meet this person anyway. And that is Paula Abdul. I'm going to go with Straight Up.
Straight up now, tell me, do you really want to love me forever?
Oh, oh, oh.
You are wrong.
Fuck. Was it Kokomo?
No, it's actually Red Red Wine by UB40.
You make me feel so fine.
Yep. We've had that one before.
Yeah, I think we have, yeah.
That's how come I was doing all the stats and I was like, fuck man, we've had this before. Halloween 4 was written by Alan B. McElroy, who also wrote Wrong Turn, with story by Danny Lipsius, Larry Ratner, and Benjamin Ruffner, as well as Alan McElroy. It took a lot of cooks to
Yeah, a lot of people in the kitchen on this one.
make
a lot of
this
hands in the
broth.
pot.
so to speak. It was directed by Dwight H. Little, who directed such things as Halloween 4. No, he directed Marked for Death.
Is that the Van Damme movie? That sounds familiar.
Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal, okay.
He directed Rapid Fire, which I
Is-
believe is
is that
Brandon
Van Damme?
Lee. No, that's Brandon Lee. I think it was a film he made before The Crow.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously, it was before The Crow. He died while filming that movie.
I feel bad laughing, but yes.
Anyway, Dwight H. Little directed this movie. Alan Howarth gets the
Yeah, he
music
took over the
credit.
reins.
Yep, took over the reins from his friend John Carpenter. Also, John Carpenter is credited for the theme,
Yeah.
right? Because that
Right.
theme is thematic throughout this movie as well.
Well, and Alan Howarth, I mean, they worked together a lot, but I think they worked together on Halloween 2 and 3. Yeah, so
Yeah.
for 4, it was pretty much just Alan Howarth.
Yeah. Movie stars Donald Pleasance. He's back as Dr. Samuel Loomis. Ellie Cornell as Rachel Carruthers. Danielle Harris, introducing Danielle Harris.
Yeah, big debut.
Big debut as Jamie Lloyd. We got Tom Morga and George P. Wilbur credited both as Michael Myers. Now, I have a question for you. This is kind of off topic. Well, it's kind of on topic, but off the movie topic. You have a Michael Myers mask
I do.
that you have autographed by many people who have played the Shape, Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Tom Morga is one of those people you had sign your mask. Do you have George P. Wilbur?
I don't. I know, he's one of the ones I need because he's also Michael Myers in Part 6.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Not through the whole thing, though. is
No,
he?
there's
Or-
a few Michael Myers, but he's the primary one.
This is a fucking problem that we're having these days with these fucking masks and people
Yeah,
who
they
have
get
played
additional
certain-
stuntmen. So it's like, does this person really count? They wore the
Yeah.
mask in this one scene.
Yep, exactly. And I know you and I ran into this problem with our Jason hockey masks that we have signed by the various different people who have played Jason. Ken Kersinger recently signed our masks.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy who played Jason in Friday the 13th Part 3, but only in the barn scene
Yeah,
where
one
he's
scene
being
where he's
hanged.
but he is wearing the mask.
He is wearing the mask and he is on screen. Now, Richard Brooker played him the rest of the time, but
he's
Richard
Jason
Brooker has
in Part
passed
3.
away.
Right.
He is Jason in Part 3, but he has passed away.
Yeah, we can't get his signature on the mask. So it's like, if we want Part 3 representation on our masks, we're gonna
It's
have to
either
get
Shelley-
this other guy.
It's either,
Yeah, sure. He
it's
wore
either-
the
It's either
mask.
fucking Shelley or it's this guy.
Yeah, so we went with
So
him. Yeah.
I did go with him too,
Yeah.
and you went with him. So
Yep.
we have shout out to CSR Collectibles.
Yeah, they do a lot of horror signings and consignments. So
Yeah, so you can send them your stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, Doug at CSR Collectibles, one of the nicest, best customer service that I've had to deal with.
yeah, they're super fast, friendly. Like they send updates. Like when they're signing your stuff, they'll message you pictures and stuff. It's pretty cool.
It's awesome. And I chatted with him quite a bit because this mask is like one of my prized possessions.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look and see how much of a how much of a hockey mask costs autographed by these people who've played Jason, it can get upwards a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm talking over $1,000. And I sent it off, for, down to Florida for somebody to sign, And the only reason why we did that with Ken Kersinger is because he doesn't go to a lot of shows that we tend to go to.
Yeah, you got a better shot at him now that you've moved east, but like he's never out in my neck of the woods.
Seemingly he's not. So that's why
He's the only way. But now, we have every living, well, for the most part. I mean, there's still like those kind of like the Halloween example of like stuntmen type stuff. There's a couple of those guys that aren't on the mask, but we now have representation from every Friday the 13th
Every movie.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so unfortunately Steve Dash and Richard Brooker are no longer with us. But back to the Michael Myers thing, I know we were talking about this because it's like, do you get Tony Moran?
Yeah.
Because he's the unmasked Michael Myers in the first movie. Do you get George P. Wilbur? Well, yeah, he played Michael Myers. Tom Morga only plays him at the beginning of this movie. And he doesn't even wear the mask.
No, he's just a bandaged guy.
So it's kind of like this fine line. It's like, well, and you can talk yourself in and out of it.
Because I had an opportunity to get one of the Part 6 guys, and I didn't because I wanted to get George P. Wilbur. I was like, nah, I'm going to hold off until I'm able to get him.
Yeah, and I'm sure you will be able to.
Yeah, eventually. But as of now, I think I've got representation from Parts 1, 2. There's no Michael Myers in Part 3. 5, H2O, and Resurrection.
And 4.
Yeah, not
you got
bad.
Tom
and
Morga.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so you still need James Jude Courtney. You need,
Tyler Mane, which is funny because I've seen
Tyler
him many, many times, but not when I had the mask. Same with James Jude Courtney. We've seen him a couple times, but yeah, no
Yep.
mask. So I got to get those guys.
You'll get him soon.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
All right, moving on. Michael Pataki is Dr. Hoffman. Bo Starr as Sheriff Ben Meeker. Kathleen Kinmont as Kelly Meeker, the sheriff's daughter. Sasha Jensen as Brady. Sasha Jensen, he was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Oh, okay.
but he was also in Dazed and Confused.
All right.
And then there's other people too. Movie runtime is 88 minutes, short watch. Budget of $5 million with a box office of $17.8
Oh,
million.
I was going to guess 20. And I would have been close.
I was going to guess more than 17.8. When I saw that number, I was like, that must have all happened that first weekend.
Yeah.
Because it must have dropped off quite a bit.
Yeah, apparently people weren't that excited to see Michael Myers again.
Yeah, there were really only a handful of people who were really excited to see Michael Myers again. Let's talk about the plot. It's been 10 years since the events of Halloween 1 and 2. It's now almost exactly to the date, October 30th, 1988. Which is really weird because this movie came out October 21st, 1988.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
This movie
right
is
around
the
the time.
future.
Like, this is the present time. A little bit in the future.
In 9 days from when this movie comes out,
This
this
is what's
gonna
gonna happen.
And I ran down to Haddonfield and I'm like, you guys, you gotta stop
It's coming.
this. Stop. Michael. Michael Myers, he's been in a comatose state for 10 years after Loomis blew up Haddonfield Memorial Hospital.
Is it Ridgemont Federal Sanitarium?
Yep. That's where he's at, and he's getting transferred to Smith Grove, where he was originally. Right?
Yeah.
That's where he was
That's where
in the first
Loomis, was taking him to. Or picking
picked
him up.
from.
Yeah.
We get this ambulance that's coming in the rain on October 30th. It's nighttime, and they're going to Ridgemont Federal Sanitarium to pick up this prisoner who's in the basement. And this guy's like, God has nothing to do with what's down here. You know, it's like very ominous.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, first of all, everybody knows about Michael Myers. If you lived in that area, you know that he killed, what do they say, 16
I
people
can't remember.
at
That's
least?
a lot of people. He's a bad dude.
On that night 10 years ago, and it was on Halloween night. And now it's, who's like, you know what? It's
Maybe
October
we
30th.
wait. Yeah, let's give it a few days.
Let's
Maybe we move
transfer.
him. Oh, maybe after Veterans Day, mid-November.
And why? Do they explain why? I think they try to, but I didn't really understand.
Yeah, I didn't really understand it either, but the one doctor does. And I think he wants him just kind of out of his hair. And I think he also wants to get rid of Loomis.
Loomis. Yeah. Because Loomis is nuts.
Yeah.
And we do see Loomis in a little bit, and he's all fucking burned up, and he's like, got a cane, and he's all, oh, you have to get it out of here. It's evil. Evil, I tell you.
I like that they took some time. I mean, the makeup isn't very good, but the burned face, I like that they at least acknowledged. It's not like, oh, I was, when I blew up, I got better.
I got better.
I went out and got expensive plastic surgery. I'm very vain.
So they take Michael, these couple of transporters, I guess. They take him into this ambulance, and like we said, this is where Tom Morga is
Bandaged
Michael.
up.
He's
like
all
the Invisible
bandaged
Man.
up. And they get him in there, and the two. They're driving in the ambulance, and we get the ee oo oo ee oo oo ee oo, oo, you know, the music music playing, and they're sitting in the back of this ambulance, and the two, I guess they're nurses, I don't know what they are, the transporter people.
Mm-hmm. They're talking.
And they're talking, and they're like, whatever happened with Laurie Strode? Well, I don't know about. And they start talking about it, right? And Michael's there, and he can hear him.
Mm-hmm. They're like, she had a kid, right?
She died.
Yeah, Lori died.
Lori died. And they're like, but she did have a kid, so he's got a niece. And then we see Michael's hands.
Michael sits up. Ew, ew, I gotta go.
But he sits up, and he grabs the dude's fucking face, and he bashes it against the wall of the ambulance.
And he pushes his thumb through the dude's forehead.
Yes, killing him.
He's got strong.
Presumably.
Don't play thumb war with Michael Myers. He will fuck you up.
No, he has got a thumb that can crush a human skull.
10 years of atrophy laying in that bed and didn't do anything. And I like that later in the movie they do acknowledge that.
They do acknowledge that because the next day...
Oh, the
Loomis
ambulance
shows-
crashes. Like, that's important.
The ambulance crashes. Yeah. The next day, Loomis shows up at the sanitarium, and he's like, why didn't you tell me that you were transferring him? And he's like, motherfucker, I did. You just don't read your emails. And Loomis is like, what's an email? Is that like a regular thing? Is that like a regular mail? Do I get that in the
Does
in
a
the
pigeon
mailbox?
carry the mail? Like, no.
No, it's an email. It's a computer. Oh.
An
how do I
emu
get on
mail. So there is a
internet?
bird. No.
You're old. Get out of here. Do you even work for the state anymore? Well, I retired.
I'm not sure.
I don't get paid. I do this work pro bono.
He's like, and right now I'm doing it pro boner. They're like, oh, dirty old man.
You thought that was my cane. No, it was not. I have a big dick. It didn't get burned in the fire 10 years ago. It looks a lot like my face, though.
The rumors that my dick were badly burned in the fire are highly exaggerated. My dick is just fine. And it's
Here,
huge.
let me show you. No, Loomis.
Please, no.
Loomis is talking to the guy, and he's like, oh. That's how he talks. Oh.
Yeah.
He's talking to the guy, and he's like, Michael, you can't just transfer him. You should have told me because he's going to fucking escape. And the guy's like, he's been laying down for 10 years.
Yeah,
he's got bed sores.
And his muscles would be like mush.
His muscles are mush. he can't get up. He can't fucking lift a finger.
I think he's like, oh, hold on a second. Let me take this phone call.
And not to mention, he was shot twice in the eyeballs.
Yeah. And Loomis shot him 6 times. Oh, I like the ambulance drivers also acknowledge that, I think. Or somebody does at some point. They're like, Loomis shot him 6 times. I wanted him to pop up and be like, 6 times. I shot him 6 times.
Yeah, he got shot 6 times by Loomis. He got shot by Lori. He got blown up.
Yeah,
and
eyes gouged out.
And he's been laying down for 10 years. That fucker, he's got bed sores that you can't believe.
No, yeah.
But he sits up and shoves his thumb right through a guy's forehead. Anyway, David, you're right. Loomis is talking to this doctor, and all of a sudden the phone rings, and he's like, let me take this.
One moment. Oh, how's that? You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, fuck. Who is that? Nobody? No, they're just calling about my car's extended warranty. Yeah, don't pay no mind.
Well, I'm going with you to wherever you're going.
Yeah.
They go to this fucking ditch where the ambulance is, and it's blood everywhere.
Yeah, and they said the bodies inside are all mangled and shit. Like,
And
how
Loomis
many?
walks
Like,
into
how
the
many
water.
bodies?
Count them. The guy's like, I'm not really sure. They're all fucked.
Yeah.
And Loomis goes into, and they're like, well, I don't know. Sometimes that happens when cars get into accidents.
Body
Bodies
parts get
get
all mixed
thrown.
up. Who knows?
Loomis walks into the water and looks inside the ambulance, and he's like, he's alive. He's escaped.
Yep.
And he takes the dude's fucking car that drove him there, and he's like, fuck you.
Fuck
And he
you.
like pieces,
I'm out of here.
he pieces out. And he's like, I'm going to Haddonfield. That's where he's
That's
headed.
where he's headed.
Loomis does go to Haddonfield, but he stops at a gas station. He's like, fill her up, please.
They're like, this is self-service, motherfucker. He's like, oh, well,
Well,
shit.
he quickly finds out it's self-service because no one's there.
no one comes out.
And we do get a shot before Loomis gets there of Michael showing up at the filling station, and some guy's working on a car, and he's like, hey, buddy, can you hand me that ratchet?
Give me that 9/16 wrench, please.
And he comes out from underneath the car. He's like, I said 9/16. And the guy's, and fucking Michael kills him.
Yep.
Steals his coveralls.
Of course. You need
It's like,
those.
I like these.
These are comfortable.
Yeah. This is my preferred.
Except when I
outfit of
poop, I
choice.
basically got to get naked.
Oh, I got to take the whole thing off.
Yeah.
You know what coveralls need? They need a flap.
Yeah, butt flap.
You know what we should do instead of this? I should just wear jeans and a t-shirt because that would be a lot,
A lot
easier.
easier for pooping.
We also get introduced to Jamie, who
Oh,
is
Jamie
Danielle
Lloyd.
Harris. And she's Laurie Strode's daughter, Michael's niece. That Michael got so upset that he has a niece that he's like, I gotta fucking
see
kill
her. I
that
haven't been in
little
her
girl.
life.
Yeah.
How many birthdays have I missed?
I've missed like 8 birthdays.
I can't get that time back.
But
They
I'm
grow
going
up
to
so
start now.
fast.
Jamie knows about Michael, apparently.
Yeah, and she lives with
And
foster
she-
parents and like a foster sister.
Yeah, that's Tina.
No,
That's not
Rachel.
Tina. Tina's in 5. Rachel. Rachel is her foster sister, and she sees she has dreams about Michael, and she calls him the bad man or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But she also keeps a box of like memorabilia about her parents in her
Yeah,
closet.
photos and stuff.
So she opens this box and she's looking at photos. One of the photos is Jamie Lee Curtis from the set of fucking Halloween. Holding that pumpkin, like sitting on the corner. I'm like, who the fuck was there taking that picture? That was Michael, like from the car. He's all, like,
Yeah,
how did that
who
picture
took
even
that?
get taken? Yeah, it's
That's
so
funny. I didn't
stupid.
catch that.
Yeah,
Is this a
it's
still
so
shot from the
dumb.
movie?
It annoys the shit out of me when they do that in movies. They're like, "Oh, here's a picture of my mom," and I'm like, "That was from the fucking movie. There was no photo. There was no photographer around."
Yeah. The actress can't just supply a photo. Like, yeah, here's a picture of me that I took on a picnic once.
Well, I'm wondering. I thought about that. I'm wondering if A, Photoshop wasn't a thing back then, but B, if they don't have the likeness rights to Jamie Lee Curtis other than the movies.
Oh, that's a good point.
So they're like, we
yeah, that
gotta
might be it.
take-
We're just
we
gonna
gotta
have to take a
take-
still shot.
Yeah. We gotta take a still
She's
from
like
what we
going
have.
through the photos. There's one of her like cowering in a closet. Like,
There's the one where she's backed up against the doorway and Michael sits up.
Yeah, just like, oh, here's a great photo of my mom's friend Linda, and it's like her and fucking Ghost Bob.
Linda's titties hanging out.
Yeah.
Here's when my mom's horny friend was going to visit Paul, and she got strangled.
Yeah, that's her in the car. Yeah.
Anyway, so stupid. It fucking annoyed me. But anyway, she sees Michael, and this is where we get the first glimpse of this shitty mask in this movie. By the way, this is just her dreaming it. So Michael hasn't even picked up the shitty mask yet.
No.
This is her dream of a shitty mask.
And it's going to be a reality soon.
What do you think of this mask when you see it?
It's fucking ridiculous. Like, the eyebrows, like, that was a weird choice.
Yeah, they added eyebrows in this movie.
Yeah,
'Cause
dark eyebrows.
I looked back to Halloween 1 and 2, and I'm like, they don't have... I have a Michael from Halloween 2 over here. And although he does have lines for eyebrows, they're painted white.
Right.
And no sideburns, and the hair is mussed up and everything. It looks like fucking Michael Myers. This mask, I mean, it resembles Michael Myers, but it's like you ordered it from AliExpress.
Yeah.
They ordered
like
a Michael Myers.
really well kept eyebrows, too. Like, does he get them threaded or like tweezed?
Yes. But it's just like...
It looks
come
stupid.
on.
Yeah, the mask is dumb.
You have enough budget to where you can get someone to make a good mask.
And I haven't seen some of the other Halloween movies in a while, but I seem to recall the mask in part... Is it H2O that looks really bad?
Dude,
6 or 7, one of them is really bad.
I tried to watch, I messaged you. I was like, I'm going to watch Halloween Resurrection.
That mask sucks.
Holy fuck.
I haven't seen that movie since the theater.
That movie was awful. Also eyebrows.
Yeah.
Halloween H2O, that mask sucks. And they used like 3 different masks, I think, in that movie. There's like a mask with a close. I don't know. They all just suck. They all suck. Nothing beats the original Shatner
Agreed.
like mask.
I like the
Tommy
Rob
Lee
Zombie
Wallace.
masks, and I think the ones in the newer movies are good. But yeah,
I think the ones in the newer movies, they paid more attention to it. And the Rob Zombie one's okay. I mean, it was like, that was his version of it.
But 4 through
So,
8, shitty masks.
Shitty masks all around. Anyway, she has a nightmare. The parents come in and they're like, I don't know, being nice to her. But
yeah, it was just a nightmare. Don't worry.
her sister, we'll just call her sister for
Yeah,
lack of a better
Rachel.
word. Her sister, Rachel, is going out on a date with this guy, Brady. You go out on a date with a guy named Brady, you know a guy named Brady is going to be a douche, right? I've never met a Brady that I'm like, oh, there's a real swell guy. But anyway, she's going out with fucking Brady.
Yeah, for Halloween, like they're gonna go on a date.
Yep. And her parents are like, our babysitter just canceled because she twisted her ankle. So
Yeah,
you got to
and
babysit.
we got to go to a Halloween party.
Yeah, because your dad's going to lose this account if we don't go to this fucking golf course.
Yeah, we
Whatever the fuck.
really need this house empty. If you catch my meaning. It's like, no, I don't. He's like, oh, don't worry about it.
So they're like, Rachel, you're going to have to babysit Jamie. And she's like, fuck. And she starts talking shit. And then Jamie overhears it. And she's like, I wish I would never born. Or whatever she says, right?
Yeah.
She runs away.
If it wasn't for me, you'd be having fun at your party.
And you'd be out on your date. And
You'd be getting laid.
my parents wouldn't have died. I'm a menace.
It's like, oh, calm down, Jamie.
But all that's true. But you're only 8.
Nevertheless, we'll have a nice Halloween here. It'll be okay. And I'll go see
Yeah.
Paul tomorrow.
Brady.
Brady. Paul.
Or Paul. Maybe she's got another date tomorrow. Different guy. But she's like, I'm going to buy ice cream after school and da-da-da-da-da.
We'll go get you
So
a costume.
Yeah, we'll go out trick-or-treating. Jamie goes to school, and these fucking kids bully the shit out of her.
Yeah, they're like, your uncle's the boogeyman. Your uncle's a boogeyman. Your parents are dead.
Pretty fucked up.
You're the worst.
Jamie's an orphan. Jamie's an orphan.
Yeah, and they're like, Jamie's an orphan.
Awful.
Jamie's an orphan. Her uncle's the boogeyman. It's like, well, that's the last person you want to pick on.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'd be like, yeah, motherfucker, and I'll call him up right now.
Yeah,
And
he's
guess
not
what?
dead.
He'll
I'll
come,
sick him on you.
Yeah, he'll come and kill you.
He'll kill. Yeah, he'll go murder your whole family. How you like that? Maybe he'll strangle your dog.
Yep. And
That's
maybe
what he does.
Eat it because he eats dogs.
Yep. He gets hungry
Did you ever
sometimes.
see the first movie? I mean, did you
Here's a
remember
still
what
shot
happened?
from it. Here's the dog.
This is the family dog that got eaten.
Yep.
Anyway, so she goes home from school and Rachel picks her up and Rachel's like, "Oh, Jamie, let's go get you a costume." But that's where Brady works. And she's like, "I don't want to seem too forward, but I do have to tell him that my date's off." She hasn't told him?
Yeah, and his reaction, I think, is a pretty decent one, considering.
Well,
he's like, "You knew this morning. You didn't say anything."
Yes, that reaction
That part
is decent.
Yes. He goes a little too far though.
But he does say, "Why don't I just come over after she goes to bed?" But here's what I would do if I was him, right? Bret, not Brady, okay? Bret would go, "Hey, Rachel, I understand. We can reschedule, but why don't I just come over tonight? Why don't you just ask your parents if I can come over and we can take Lindsay?
Yeah,
or
we can
not
take
Lindsay, whatever the fuck her
Jamie. We can take her trick or treating.
Yeah, I'll just go walk around trick or treating with you, dude.
Yeah, I'll just
he'd
be a good.
in-
Maybe I'll just be a good boyfriend.
He'd be in like Flynn.
But he's very dumb.
Get them wet like Bret.
Oh, is that
like
how
that?
it works?
No, but when you just are nice, when you're just a nice guy,
Yeah, people like that.
chicks like you,
Yeah,
right? I mean, I
it's
know
wild.
bad guys get the reputation of like, oh, girls just like a bad guy. No, girls like good guys. Be a good guy. Be a respectable person. And part of being a respectable person is going, I understand that this situation came up and you have to babysit your sister. Do you want help?
But instead, he pouts.
Instead, he pouts and then he goes and fucks another girl.
Yeah. He takes it a little far. Something I just remembered that we haven't talked about is that Loomis sees Michael Myers at that gas station when he's gassing up, and like he's like, "God damn you, Michael!" and he's like shooting at him, but he fucking misses. And then Michael bursts through like the garage door with a tow truck that he's stolen. And smashes right through Loomis's car, and it fucking explodes. And there's a giant fireball. Like, pretty
And
cool.
Loomis, who is like disabled, right?
Yeah, he's like, fuck, I gotta walk or hitchhike.
Well, not to mention that, yes, he does have to do that. But then he sees the car coming, and he fucking gets legs.
does.
He's like, whoa!
And he
jumps
doesn't he
and
like
dives.
jump? Yeah, he does a dive. He's fucking limber.
Yeah, he's limber when
He's
he needs to be.
agile.
That's another thing that fucking happens. Loomis has to go hitchhiking, and this car pulls up, and they're like, "Come on!"
Like a bunch of teenagers. Hey, they're like, come on, old man.
And it's like in slow motion. They're like, "Come on, come on!" And then as soon as he gets to the car, they all speed away. Ha ha ha! And they're like, "Ha ha!" It's like, what the fuck is wrong with people in Illinois?
They're the worst.
They are. Those are probably the siblings of those kids that were teasing Jamie in her elementary school.
Yeah, they're all gonna die soon.
But some old man picks him up and gives him a ride to Haddonfield. Anyway, meanwhile, yes, Rachel is telling Brady, because he works at the drugstore. I think it's Vincent's drugstore or something.
That sounds right, yeah.
When they get there, they're like, "Oh, we came here to pick Jamie up a costume." And he's like, "Aisle 5, got the best costumes in town." She goes and looks at those costumes, and I'm like, "That's the best costumes in town?"
Bullshit. Yeah, they're all those
There's not a
cheesy like
spirit
plastic
around here?
masks. Yeah, get out of here. This drugstore is the best costume store in town.
Yeah.
I'm suspicious.
It's the worst. But, when I was growing up, there was a store. Did you guys have stores, Ben Franklin?
Yeah. It's kind of like an arts and crafts store.
Yes, it was kind of like Michael's.
Yeah.
But
we
it
did
was
have
like,
those. I forgot about that place.
But they also had like clothes, and
Mm-hmm.
they had like Halloween costumes but it was always the shitty ones. It was like this store. I worked at one of those. That was like my second job.
it was like pick and save type quality.
Yeah, it was like $1. Yeah, it was like Five Below.
Yeah.
But yes. But we also had like fish tanks. I had to take care of the fish. And we had hamsters. Like we had a pet section.
Really?
I had to take care of all of them. Yeah, that was my job. I worked there.
Dude,
and then I had to like...
My first
What?
job, I worked at PetSmart, and I was the fish guy.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't the fish guy. I was the stock boy.
Oh, okay.
And so like part of my job was like I had to feed the fish and like go, "Oh, that one's dead." And then it was like if
scoop it
someone
out.
wanted a fish, I was like, "Which one?"
Yeah,
hated
well, that was
that
always the
fucking
worst.
jump.
Like, I want that one, and then they smack the tank, and they all scatter, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah. And it's like they all look the
Yeah,
same.
they look exactly the same. That's when you just go, oh, I got him. Here it is, kid.
Yeah, so best costumes in town, this Vincent drugstore or whatever it's called.
Yeah, bullshit.
She goes back there and she's picking out a costume and she sees a clown costume.
Yeah, she's like,
That
that's the
looks-
one.
It looks like the one that Michael had at the beginning of
pretty
Halloween.
close.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my god.
She picks it, and all of a sudden, we see a hand reach and grab, and we see it in the background, the shitty Michael Myers mask, and we see.
Oh
a
yeah,
hand
and
reach.
the hand like grabs it. It's like, ooh. He's like, I don't know about these eyebrows, but I guess this will do.
Yep. He puts it on, and it scares Jamie. She backs up and breaks a mirror or something.
Yeah, and screams, I think.
She gets 7 years of bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
Starting
Right now.
now. Michael leaves, and Brady and Rachel come over, as well as Kelly, who is, was it Kelly or was it the actress's name?
Kelly.
Oh,
That's
Kelly
Sheriff
Meeker.
Meeker's daughter, yeah.
Yeah, she works there with Brady. And they come over and they're like, is everything okay? They're like, yes, we just got to go. Brady was being an asshole anyway. This is when he started being an asshole.
Yeah.
And Rachel's like, I just got to babysit. So they head out of there. That night, Rachel takes Jamie trick-or-treating, right?
Yep.
So they start going door to door, and they're having a good time. Michael is somewhere.
He's lurking
town.
in the shadows, presumably.
Lurking in the shadows. Rachel and Jamie go up to this house, and they knock on the door, and that's where Kelly Meeker, the sheriff's daughter, comes and answers the door. And she's got a shirt on that says what?
Oh yeah, cops do it by the book.
Yeah. That's like all that she's wearing.
Yeah, pretty much.
And she's handing out the candy, and Rachel just kind of looks at her like, slut.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she already doesn't like her. And then, but like, she doesn't like her. She like slut shames her.
She does later, yeah.
Without even like saying anything, even before she knows that she's fucking Brady, she's just like, this bitch looks like a slut. And the only thing that we know about her is that guys think that she's attractive.
Yeah.
So she's slut shaming her. Rachel, you fucking bitch. You get what happens to you in part 5.
Oh shit. And then like right after that, she sees Brady in the house, like in the background. It's like, oh.
And he's like, hey, this dick isn't going to suck itself. Oh.
Am I right?
Oh, shit. Rachel.
I was talking to you.
So he runs out and he's like, hey, Rachel, like, it's not what you think. He like tries to play it off at first, and then he's kind of like, listen.
It is what you think.
Yeah.
He's like, but you
What-
ditched me.
You gave me no choice. You left me no alternative. What else
He
was I to do?
He gaslights her.
Yeah, he
It's
really
like,
does.
it's your fault.
Fucking
it's your
asshole.
fault that I cheated on you.
Yep. Sorry, baby.
Well-
sorry
well-
you made me cheat on you.
Well, he's trying to convince Rachel that it's her fault that he's fucking the sheriff's daughter. Jamie meets up with this group of kids, and they're like, hey, cool clown costume. You want to trick or treat with us? No kid would say that, especially kids that were picking on her all day long.
Yeah. Hey, orphan, like that costume.
They take her trick or treating, and she's like, yeah, I guess. And she leaves. And Rachel's too consumed with Brady and his penis to pay attention.
Yeah.
When she
loses
finally
her.
does turn around, she's like, Rachel or Jamie?
Jamie,
And
where'd you go?
They lose each other.
Oh shit.
They end up finding each other.
Yeah.
Because Sheriff Meeker and Loomis are driving around in the car because Loomis has gone to the sheriff's department, and he's like, Michael is back. You have to believe me.
your town. Where's Brackett? He's like, Brackett retired, bitch. He's like, oh, well, who's the new Brackett? He's like, that would be me.
He's like,
But he
"All
does
right,
convince
well."
him. He's like, all right, we'll, because he says he's gonna go to where the niece is. We need to
Yeah,
go.
because he's
we
like,
need to go
Laurie
find her."
Strode. Yeah. Laurie Strode's daughter.
And he's like, okay, I don't know if I'm fully buying this, but better safe than sorry.
Yep.
Let's go investigate.
So they come across Jamie and Rachel, who were getting scared like by guys in the shadows. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden,
Also,
Loomis,
all the power is out in the neighborhood because Michael Myers goes to like the power station and grabs a dude and tosses him into a transformer and electrocutes him. So all the power in the town is out.
when the sheriff and Loomis pick up Rachel and Jamie, they see Michael.
Yeah.
And Loomis is like,
Yeah,
but
Meeker's
Loomis
like, is that him? He's like, yes, that's him.
He's like, I think so. But Loomis is having flashbacks of fucking Ben Tramer. Mm-hmm. Right? From part 2. And he's like, I think so. And they're about ready. And then all of a sudden another Michael Myers appears. And
He's
another
like, oh,
one.
shit.
And another one.
He's like, his eyebrows look a little different, but I think that's him.
So here's my thing. Why would Loomis automatically assume that Michael would take the same mask? Why
thought that too.
If you were Michael, wouldn't you get like, I'm
Fucking
going to get
Richard
this
Nixon
hockey
or
mask.
something.
I'm
Or
going
get
to
like
dress up like...
the Groucho Marx like glasses with the big nose and mustache.
He's like, well, that's not him. That's not him. He wouldn't wear a mask like that.
No.
He wears a specific mask and coveralls. But all these guys, they're just kids. And
Yeah.
the sheriff is like, get the fuck out of here,
And they
kids.
almost
they're
get
like,
shot. And the kid's like, ha 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 ha.
I got you, sheriff. Go
Yeah,
suck
you
a
almost
dick,
killed
man."
me.
Fuck you.
Those kids got balls on them.
Yeah, kid
I
almost
would
got
never
shot.
do that.
Fuck. Maybe that's how he gets off though.
Michael does appear, though. He is one of those people that
shit.
they think were the kids, and he's just standing there with his fucking shitty mask, and he's all... By the way, that mask, it's also like really narrow. It looks like he's got like kind of a pinhead.
Yeah, he looks kind of skinny.
Yeah, it's like, you need a sandwich, dude.
It's that
He's like,
atrophy,
"Well, I've been-
man. It's like, I haven't eaten
laying down
anything in
for
10 years. I'm famished.
I know, that would be the first thing that I would do. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why he went to that diner / gas
Yeah,
station
he got a
first.
sandwich. Maybe the turkey was a little dry, and that's why he killed everyone in the diner.
Yep. The sheriff takes the girls to his house. And they're like, we're just gonna wait there because I'm sending another police officer over to the girls' house to get their parents, and we'll just keep them here. They go to their house. Well, that's when Kelly and Brady are fucking. They have to stop.
And the
And
dad
they
knows.
start-
Like when he gets in, he's like,
Yeah, he can smell it.
yeah, it's like, it smells like musk. What's going on here?
But he's like, and he even tells Brady, he's like, if I catch you groping my daughter, I'm
Yeah,
gonna blow your
it smells
brains
like
out.
musk and bleach in here.
But you want to know something? It's like, I would have told that shit. Well, I wouldn't have told that to the sheriff, and I probably wouldn't have said this either. But it's like, I'm not, like, your daughter can make her own decisions.
Yeah,
Like, if she wants me to touch her, I'm going to touch her.
I'm gonna do it because that's what
So
I do.
fuck off.
Because I'm a man.
Because I don't think, were they in high school? I don't think they were in high school, were they?
I presumed they were in high school, but I mean, like all movies like this, they look much older than that.
They look older.
But I think they were
Maybe
supposed to
in
be high school.
If they were in high school, then yes, I would tell that kid to fuck off.
Yeah.
Anyway, they start fortifying the house up because
They know Michael's coming. Got to
Michael's
board up the
coming.
windows. Nail the door shut, all that shit.
Yep.
Oh, and also
Michael's-
there's like a kind of a side story with like a lynch mob of these people that they called the sheriff's station and nobody answered. They're like, oh, somebody always answers. There's got to be something wrong. So they all
I didn't
head
like
to
that.
the station together.
Yeah. But you can see how something like January 6th, 2021 happened because fucking as soon as one of them goes, let's go, they're like, guys, it's going on. And nobody asks any questions. They all just jump in their
Jump in the
cars
truck
and they
with
got
their
their
guns.
guns ready. They're like, what are we doing? What are we hunting?
Who are we killing?
Who are we killing? It's like, you fucking redneck pieces
Fucking
of
yokels.
dog shit. And then I was like, where the fuck are you? You're supposed to be in Illinois, and you all are like, well, ding dong dang dong ding 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 ding. It's like, you fucking yokel motherfuckers. I hate them. Yeah, but they're like, shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah,
kind
absolutely.
of guys. And they actually do that. They kill one of
They
their
killed
buddies.
one of those kids. Yeah, one of the kids was like, oh, fuck you. Like, he's dead now. Whoops.
He was in the fucking bushes, and they were like, I seen him.
And I can't remember, but how do those guys know what Michael Myers looks like?
They didn't. And they fucking unload on this guy. They fill him so full of lead, they wouldn't even be able to recognize this guy. But they kill him.
And at this point, do we already know that Michael's killed all the cops at the station? Well,
I think we find out like right now.
Okay.
Michael kills all the cops at the station.
There you go.
All of them.
Yep.
Like,
And
it
it
was a
wasn't even that hard.
bloodbath.
It's like, meh.
It was a bloodbath.
Yeah, the cops are all dead.
One of the cops goes over to has been over at the parents' house.
Yeah, like
Rachel's
the
parents'
deputy.
house. And he's like, I'm out of here. And the sheriff's like, meet me over at my house. I have the girls over here. Michael's in the back seat of the sheriff's car because Michael's fucking super smart.
Yep.
And
Very.
he's like, I know,
Very stealthy.
I know that this guy's gonna get called over there. So he goes in the back seat so he can get over to where Jamie and
Yeah, and
Rachel
he
are.
ducks down and goes, he doesn't know I'm here.
Michael sneaks into the house, whatever means necessary.
Yeah, because he sneaks in presumably before they start boarding everything up. Like he's already.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's
And once-
someone inside your house. It's Michael Myers.
Wrong movie.
Oh.
Loomis leaves. He's like, I'm gonna go see a man about a horse. They're like, just tell us you have to go take a piss. And then he's like, well, I have to take a shit.
It's gonna be a little bit. I had a very large meal earlier. And,
Takes the New York Times under his
yeah,
fucking
he's like,
arms. He's like,
it was
"I'll
corned
be
beef.
back."
Actually, he's like, I don't care what you ate. He's like, well, the gist though is that it's gonna be a while.
The sheriff leaves too. So it's just this one deputy, Kelly, the sheriff's daughter, Brady, Jamie, and Rachel. Well, this one fucking deputy, he gets killed.
Yeah, because
We don't see it happen, but Kelly comes in with coffee.
coffee
She's
or
like,
something.
Oh, it sure is cold outside, huh? My nipples are super hard.
Anyway, you want some coffee? And she's like, she sets the coffee down and she sees the body, but then she sees
The body's
somebody
on the
sit-
floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, then who's sitting in the chair? It's Michael.
It's Michael, and he comes with a shotgun, and he doesn't shoot her. He
No.
stabs her through the gut
Like impales
gun.
her with the gun.
up to the wall.
Yep.
Brady and Rachel and Jamie find all of this stuff eventually too, and then Brady's like, "I'll take care of him," and he goes to shoot him, and the gun jams. Which I'm
no
like,
bullets or something.
okay, this is a sheriff's gun. This gun's not gonna jam. He's gonna keep it clean. He's gonna clean his gun on a regular basis. You're a fucking
Yeah, he's like fumbling with the gun, like, oh shit.
It would have been
Run.
better had he been fumbling with it, like the safety was on, or there was no bullets in it, or whatever the fuck. But it like just jammed, which it wouldn't. Anyway, he doesn't get it in time. Michael crushes his skull. He's dead.
Yep. Doesn't he kind of do the same thumb thing that he did earlier?
Kind of.
I think he
He's
kind of
all
thumbs
about
his face.
thumbs and people's.
Loves it. Just loves
like-
sticking his thumbs.
It's like, have I showed you how strong my thumbs are?
Yeah. It's the only part of my body that's strong, other than my dick. You understand it?
All those rumors you've heard about my dick.
Like, I've
as well as
literally heard
Loomis's
nothing.
dick.
It's like, well, can you put some rumors out there?
Both Loomis and I, giant hogs.
It's like mine a little bit bigger, though.
It is, and not as burnt. That's a lie. That's a lie.
That's a damn lie. He comes out of the bathroom with his pants around his ankles, holding the funnies. Like a half-finished
I shit
crossword.
6 times. 6 times I shit. Yes, we know. And I have a big penis. Rachel and Jamie go up to the
They're
attic.
into the attic, yeah.
They're like, this is the best place to
They
hide.
go up. When in doubt, up. And then they go out the window. They end up on the roof.
They end up on the roof. She lowers Jamie down by tying the cable cord around her and lowering her down. Michael comes out. One thing leads to another. Rachel falls from the
Yeah,
second
because
story.
she's like shimmying on the
gutter.
The gutter. Dude, it made me think of. Do you get those commercials all the time for the leaf filter thing or the gutter thing? Like, who still
seen those.
gets on ladders to clean their gutters?
Yeah.
And the person like raises their hand, and the girl goes like, "Dad." I see that commercial like 1,000 times a day. Or the one where the guy's like walking around. He's like, still going on ladders? That's dangerous, Melissa. Oh, Paul, don't do that.
Holy shit, you got a death wish, Bret?
Well, you don't have to worry about that because you don't have
No.
rain gutters.
Yeah, why
But
do we have
I
this,
do.
Why do we have these commercials in Arizona?
I do. And I was looking outside the other day and I was like, fuck, fall's going to be here soon enough. And the leaves are going to start falling and they're going to land on my house.
Be careful, because if those commercials have taught me anything, it's that getting up on a ladder to clean those gutters is certain death, my friend.
Well, we'll see.
They've put a lot of fear into me.
We'll see what happens.
But she falls off the roof.
She falls off the second story. But if this movie taught me anything, is that you can survive a fall like that. So
Yeah, she was
I'll
at
be-
least
I'll be
knocked
fine.
out, because Jamie
Yeah,
thinks she's
just a-
dead. She's like,
Rachel.
Don't she goes, don't not be alive.
"Is that what she
Or
said?"
something. It was really cute what she said.
And then Michael comes and she does the right thing. She runs. Like,
She's
she's
like,
like, this
fuck
shit.
this. She runs. She runs into Loomis, who's always walking the streets in these movies. Right?
Always.
He's like, and then he's like, "Where's the school?"
He calls it the schoolhouse, which I also thought was funny.
schoolhouse.
Like, who
She's
said
like, "What?"
schoolhouse? The schoolhouse. It's where the school marm is. School marm.
Where do you learn your education? She takes him to the school. Well, at first I was like, "Why?" But it's to set off the alarm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's like-
I thought the same thing at first. Like, what to what purpose?
Yeah. But it sets off the alarm, so then Michael knows, oh, that's where they are. So he goes to, he's like a fucking dog. He's like, huh? Or an animal of some sorts, right? He just goes to where the noise is. Michael shows up. Now, this is where we get the classic scene in this movie. Michael takes Loomis and throws him out the window, right?
Fuck yeah, he does.
But when Michael comes, that fucking mask has blonde hair.
Yes. Yeah, why?
Because someone fucked up and they just never noticed it until the movie was already done and they were like, well,
Well, shit. Yeah, I noticed that
can't
too. I was
pay-
like, why is
I'm not
going to
pay Donald Pleasance. Yeah. And when I first saw this movie, when
No
I
one even
was-
on the set noticed. They're like, hey. Well, maybe they did and they just used the wrong cut. I don't know. But I'd be like, hey, that ain't right. I'm not the props guy. That shit ain't right. I'm not telling you how to do your job, but
they're
do
like-
your job.
the guy's holding the boom and he's like, is that mask? Listen, Ted,
Yeah, you
there's
see
a
this?
union. Okay. You can't help us out.
There's a guy cleaning the gutters on a ladder. He's like, hey, I think something. They're like, whoa, you're going to fucking die. Pay attention to the...
Pay attention to what you're doing,
Yeah,
Roger.
come on, man. You're going to fall off that ladder. Severely injure
But-
yourself.
Yes, you can see a clip of this online, but it is he's got a blonde haired mask
It's
on.
like a fucking Ben Tramer mask.
Yeah, it's a Ben Tramer mask, basically. Or did they do it just as a joke?
No. It was
Like,
weird,
why
though.
would they even have that on the set? Why would you even have a blonde-haired
It doesn't
Myers
make sense.
mask? It doesn't.
Unless it was
It's like
on purpose.
unless someone really fucked up, and you'd have to fuck up a lot. It should be brown hair.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
So anyway, then it cuts back. He's got the regular mask on, but he's chasing after Jamie.
He actually catches her, but Rachel busts in with a fire extinguisher and, and sprays his ass.
Sprays his
face
ass.
mostly.
Yeah, his ass and face,
Yep.
and they get out, and this is where the fucking yokels come, and they're like, "We're gonna kill him," and Rachel's like, "Hey, you know what? The state troopers are on the way. Why don't we let the cops do their job and we just go to safety?" And they're like,
They're like,
"Well,
"You know
I guess
what?
you're right."
That ain't a bad idea. Let's do that. So they're going to drive them to the next town police station.
They were able to talk sense into them. So they all leave on the truck and they pass the state troopers. Who the state troopers don't bother to stop them and go, "Wait a second, who are you?"
Yeah, why
Like-
do you all have guns?
I figured like the state troopers, they don't know that it's Michael Myers. They don't know what he looks like. They were just told somebody killed a bunch of people
And there's
you
a
got
bunch of yokels with guns.
leaving.
Yeah,
the
leaving
scene of
town
a
in a
crime.
hurry. Maybe we should stop those guys.
Yeah. So the trooper tells them to just go up the road and you'll be safe. But Michael was hiding underneath the truck.
Fucking strong.
Michael was holding on by his thumbs.
Yeah, just his thumbs and a little bit with his penis. It's like a
Wrapped that
prehensile
around
tail.
the axle.
He's like a possum.
Possum. Yep. Oh, that's fucking great.
Yeah, but he pops up. I was like, oh, what the hell? How'd he do that? He's very strong.
He kills all the guys who are riding in the back, and I like as he's killing one, the other two are just kind of looking
watching,
off.
like
they don't hear.
No. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's kind of just happening behind them. Like, dude, like hell of a night, isn't it?
And then one of them gets grabbed, and the other one's just like, okay.
I hope it rains tonight. We really need the rain. We need this.
He kills all three of them, and then he punches through the glass door and kills Earl, who was driving.
The driver, yeah.
And Rachel's like, fuck this. She pushes that guy's body out. She's like, whatever. She takes over driving. Yep. And she starts swerving, so Michael's like holding onto the roof.
It's like, oh shit. Yeah, trying to fling him off.
Yep. And
which she eventually does.
She does. She which had memories of Halloween H2O at this point, right?
Oh,
but
yeah.
He flies off and he lands in a ditch and he's presumably dead. And that's when the sheriff and Loomis.
She rams him with the truck too, like, which I thought was smart. Not only does she fling him off, but then she like runs him over basically. Yeah, and that sends him flying.
And he goes flying.
And he goes into a hole or a mine shaft or something, right?
Like a ditch, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just laying there. And she's like, Rachel, you stay here. I'm going to go get help. And it's like, why don't you just have Rachel go with you?
Yeah.
But she goes up there. Loomis and the sheriff and the rest of the lynch mob and whatever have shown up.
Oh, yeah. You're right. He's in a ditch because now he's going to fall into a mine shaft or something.
Yes. Whatever the fuck this, whatever
it is. Yeah. Big hole.
But Jamie goes over to him and she grabs his hand and she like touches his hand or something like that.
She's like holding his hand.
And then
Jamie,
starts
get away
moving,
from there.
And she's like, huh? And so she runs away and Michael like stands up, like immediately stands up. It's not even the sit up.
Yeah,
it's like he goes from laying to like up straight
he does
up
like
vertical.
one of those karate things where you flip your feet up and then you bounce up on your feet.
And then they're like, Jamie, duck. And she ducks and they
just
fucking unload on him. And this is where he falls in that mine
They
shaft.
shoot him a lot.
And the whole mine shaft like came. This fucking mine. What is this mine in Illinois?
Yeah, what are they
mining? But anyway, everything caves in on him, and they're like, he's dead. The evil is dead.
Yeah, no need to check. He's dead.
Let's go home.
He's in hell now.
So
Loomis still have to finish shitting.
Meeker's like, my daughter's dead, but all right, let's go have some coffee at the fucking
fuck it,
Carruthers house. So they take Jamie and Rachel back home, and Rachel's mom's like, well, I'm going to take Jamie upstairs and get her ready for bed. It's been a long day. So she takes her upstairs, and we see the mom is like starting the bath water.
Also, I'm filthy from this party that I was at.
We get a POV of
just like part one.
Just like
the two holes.
And all of a sudden it goes into the bathroom and it sees the mom, the POV does, and she screams. Loomis goes running upstairs and he sees Jamie at the top of the stairs with the mask on, holding a pair of scissors
with blood on it. And he goes, no!
Yeah, he says no.
No! Yeah, he
100,000
he emotes
times.
big time. Yeah, and you're right.
And then, well, he was going to shoot her, and the sheriff stopped him.
Yeah, don't kill her. Don't kill the kid.
And that's the end.
Yep.
What'd you think?
You know, it's been a long time since I've seen this one. I
too.
own it.
Well, it's been a couple years.
It's been several. And so I didn't remember it all that well. I remember liking it before.
When was the first time you saw this movie? Did you see this movie like towards when it came out? Or?
No, I was probably like in my mid-20s when I saw it.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
The first time I saw it was when I bought it. I bought it on DVD. They had like a collector tin version, which I still have. That's what I watched it on this time. And it's funny too, because like on the inside, it was like, you've never like experienced it this way. Like it's been remastered and I had like all the specs. And I just remember as I was watching, it's like, this movie looks like shit. Like the quality compared to like now.
Yeah.
But I like this one. There's a lot of things I don't like. But like this one is the most autumn feeling one. I think I like the setting. Like there's lots of like brown leaves. It just looks
opening
very
shots.
very fall. Yeah.
The opening credit shots
Oh yeah, with the pumpkins and
are awesome.
yeah.
It gets me in all the feels.
Yeah. I think that Danielle Harris's performance is really good as Jamie. Like
Yes.
as a child actor, I think she's great. I think she does
Yes.
really good. But I mean, it's just kind of cheesy. It just feels like it's the same movie we've seen 2 other times, and it was
Yes.
probably, well, I was gonna say better the first 2 times, but I'm gonna kind of put this movie on the same level as Part 2, where I think it's probably one of the better sequels, but it's also not great. I'm gonna go 2.5 on this one.
So that's what you gave part 2.
Yeah.
Also. And I know this because I looked up to see what I gave part 2 because I wanted to kind of align it with part 2. But let me, before I go that far, so you gave it 2.5. Okay. I agree with you. Like it's very, like the establishing shots, the beginning. Like when I first saw this movie, I was super stoked because I saw it in probably 88.
Oh, okay, and you're like Michael Myers
89,
is back.
probably 89. Probably 89 because I saw it on VHS. And this came out in October of 88, so it was probably the following year. But I remember being super stoked and being like, yes, Michael's back. And fucking A. And then I saw it and I was like, this movie is awesome. This movie for a long time was one of my favorite Halloween movies.
Yeah.
Obviously the original, and then part 2 for a long time was like up there as well. But part 4 was boom, right there with it. I watched it a couple years ago, and my daughter likes this one, probably because there's a young
Danielle
girl in
Harris?
it. Yeah. I watched this again the other day, and I was like, God, this movie is fucking dumb. This movie is just dumb. Pure D dumb. There's stuff in this movie that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
the mask is ridiculous. Like we talked about that.
The mask is ridiculous. Michael's been laying down for 10 years. I guess I never really thought about that before watching it this time. And I was like, oh, I guess I just thought he was a patient. Like he was up and around and moving around. But no, they say
he had
like
a walker. He had physical therapy 3 times a week.
I mean, that would have been better. Like if we would have known that, like it would have been more realistic.
Yeah.
There was nothing realistic about this movie.
No.
There was a couple of good kills. I thought the thumb through the forehead, that's one of the memorable ones. The girl getting
shotgun through the stomach.
Shotgun through the stomach. But other than that, the kills were kind of meh. Just a lot of coincidence. And it's like, why does he want to kill Jamie? Like, he gets so pissed off that Jamie's alive, exists, that he's got to go kill her.
Oh.
Why does Jamie...
Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going. I'll cut that out.
Oh, I was just going to say, why does Jamie have a picture of her mom when nobody was around? When her mom was 17 holding a pumpkin on the corner, waiting for her friend to pick her up?
Did something else I just thought of too. The ending is ridiculous also. Like I hate the ending. Like making Jamie, they build her up as like this really likable character, and then at the end they make her a monster. This seems kind of fucked up.
Well, and this is what this movie does, because some people who watch this movie will be like, well, in part 5 they explain a lot of this shit. Fuck you. Fuck part 5. And the reason why is because part 5 doesn't even exist yet. So to use anything from part 5 to explain part 4, because I know what people would say. They'd be like, well, there's this psychic connection that the two have because in part 5, and we'll review that someday. And then there's the whole thorn fucking tattoo and all that kind of, and the man in black and all this shit that gets established in later movies. But that's not what part 4 is.
Right.
Part 4 is we're bringing Michael back. They just tried to use this little girl as a, I don't know, a way,
like a shocking ending, a passing of the torch.
Yes, to leave it open-ended. And then they realized, like, no, people want to see Michael.
Want Michael Myers.
Yeah, we don't want Tommy Jarvis turning into Jason.
Right.
We don't want Roy Burns. We don't want anything but the original. Like, there's no passing of torches.
Exactly. Give the people what they want.
Dumb. So I looked at my Halloween 2 rating. I went to the Swearwolves.com, which you can go to. and see all of our ratings, and I saw that I gave Halloween 2, which I also said was stupid, 2 Pamela Voorhees Heads, but I'm going to go less than that. 1.5 Pamela Voorhees Heads for me.
All right.
This, I will say this. The movie was watchable, but it's
definitely.
laughable. It's laughable. It's like, you can watch it. It's only 88 minutes long. It's like, okay, I can sit down and watch this movie. And at Halloween, it's on all the time.
Yeah.
This and Part 5 are on all the time, seemingly. Well, and H2O, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, H2O is on a lot.
Yeah. So, 1.5 for me, 2.5
2
for
overall.
you. That's a 2 overall. If you have any thoughts on Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers that you would like to share with us, if you like, Brett, you're a fucking moron. David,
You're okay.
not
You're slightly
as
less
big
moronic.
of a moron. You're slightly less moronic. I heard that you both have really huge cocks, but you guys are morons. That's the rumor. But you can contact us. How can they contact us, David?
Twitter, Facebook, The Slasher App, TikTok, YouTube. Just search The Swearwolves. On Instagram, search The Swearwolves Podcast. You can go to our website, theswearwolves.com. You can email us at contact@theswearwolves.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 623-282-1851.
So for the Swearwolves this week, I'm Brett.
I'm David.
Ee-oo, 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 ee-oo.